Enjoy the remainder of your Sunday sports day, everyone, and take care.
Last week, Ernie Irvan's impressive Sears Point performance helped keep GM's string alive as he took his Kodak Gold to victory in California's Valley of the Moon. What has already been a colorful season has begun to see its dark side once again, as an unusually silent force has begun to cast his shadow over NASCAR's Winston Cup points race. It began without fanfare. Many said the Intimidator was now the intimidated. The Dominator was now the dominated. Had the Flying Aces finally been grounded? While the king of stock car racing continues to wave goodbye, leaving his legacy of 7 Winston Cup championships behind, would this man be able to move one step closer to that seemingly untouchable task? Not this year, many thought, but in a quiet manner. So in contrast to the man they call Ironhead, it began to happen. At first it went unnoticed, then a nervousness fell over the garage area as the black number 3 began to slash his way through the point standings in a quiet, methodical manner. Then without warning, at a time of the year when he's been most vulnerable, he drew his first blood with a Charlotte victory, and since has silently stayed within the reach of his prey. There's a very black picture being painted as the quest for the Cup continues. ESPN, the world's leader in motorsports coverage, presents Speed World. Today, live from Pocono International Raceway in Pennsylvania, it's the Champion Spark Plug 500. Well, we were plagued with rain on 2 occasions last year here at Pocono, but not today. Bright sunshiny skies, warm temperatures, and a little bit of humidity. It's perfect for race day. Taking a look at the quest for the Cup standings as we enter this event, they are the tightest that they have been in several years. The top 5 are separated by only 83 points. Dale Earnhardt is only 28 points away in 2nd position. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Bob Jenkins, and welcome to Pocono. We're about to start the 13th race of the 1992 Winston Cup season, and the man on the move, in terms of points at least, is Dale Earnhardt. Now take a look at this graphic showing his points position after the first few races. And notice, after Rockingham, he was 13th in the point standings. But take a look at this. Beginning at North Wilkesboro, he began a climb from 8th position and now finds himself just 28 points back in 2nd. Now, a couple of guys considered front runners have had their problems here in the qualifying and in the practices. And for more on that, here's Ned and Benny.
Thanks, Bob. Well, Ned, Davey Allison, our Winston Cup point leader, he hasn't had a very good weekend so far. Friday, he qualified 2nd. In a post-qualifying inspection, they found his car a little bit too low. They threw that speed out. He had to come back Saturday and qualify, and now he starts 18th. He came here wanting to shift, which has become the rage the last couple of years. He had trouble with those transmissions. He's now back to a conventional transmission. He's also had 2 engines in the car trying to find some speed. But durability, what Dave's looking for. He's got to finish.
Yeah, he needs to finish to maintain the point lead. You know, the Kodak Gold didn't shine too bright for Ernie Irvan here on Friday as well. He had engine problems, didn't get to qualify. He qualified 2nd round fastest on Saturday, which will start him in 16th position. But as you well know, this is a tough racetrack to pass on, so he and Davey and anybody else back there is going to have a tough time coming up through the field. He had some transmission problems yesterday too, so they've gone back to a transmission where they will not be shifting gears, and that is something relatively new, especially on an oval track. This is the only track on the circuit where some of the drivers will be shifting gears during the race on the straightaway here. Well, the fellow who sat on the pole had an awfully good lap. Don't know if he'll shift gears or not. Let's go to the pits and Jerry Punch.
Thank you, Ned, and hello, everyone. He will not shift gears today, but you know something has happened to the Hendrick Motorsports team. They have owned the front row the past 2 weeks here the entire month of June. Ricky Rudd last week at Sears Point, and today Kenny Schrader at Pocono International Raceway. I asked Schrader why. What's been the difference? He said, well, yeah, there was a comment made about our operation about being something like a mediocre race team. We wanted to prove to everyone in Winston Cup racing and everyone around America we are not mediocre. In fact, next year there'll be 3 of us, with young Jeff Gordon joining it, and it is yet unnamed sponsor for his Chevrolet. So next year there'll be 3 of us trying to sit on the pole every single week. You talk about courage, 9 days from today, that man you're looking at right now will be on an operating room table having his neck worked on a herniated disc. Now, he told me I will not miss a lap of racing. I will be in that car when it comes Pepsi 400 time at Daytona. Looking for a win today, Ken Schrader. For more on the front row, let's go to John Kernan.
Jerry, I tell you what, it's been so long since the Wood brothers have put a car on the front row that Eddie Wood says, hey, I cannot remember when the last time was. He says it may have been at Charlotte with Kyle Petty about 5 or 6 years ago. That's given them reason to be optimistic. Another reason that they are optimistic, this is Morgan's favorite car. They feel that they should have won the Dover race had a lug nut not gotten stuck during a pit stop late in that event. Speaking of favorite cars, Darrell Waltrip is in one of his favorites. In fact, he won this race last year with the car that he's strapped into. Darrell starting 24th. He says not to worry, though, Bob. This car can run well anywhere on the racetrack, especially in race traffic.
All right, thank you, John. Well, Waltrip looking for his 4th win here at Pocono, and Morgan Shepherd for his very first victory at this Tri-Oval at Pocono, Pennsylvania. We're standing by for the Champion Spark Plug 500. Our Speed World coverage is being brought to you by Champion Spark Plugs, the world's #1 selling spark plug, no matter what you drive. By Valvoline, people who know use Valvoline. And by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? 40 cars pull onto the racetrack. We'll introduce the starting lineup to you in just a moment when we come back.
In trying to make an artistic statement, one should be careful not to let one's personal aroma do the talking. In order not to offend the critics, I recommend Right Guard Sport Stick. It provides maximum protection and the freshest scents, a sublime palette of odoriferous emanations. After all, a true artiste should be remembered for his inspiration, not his perspiration. Right Guard Sport Stick. Anything less would be uncivilized.
The Gillette Halfway Challenge contest is coming up in today's race. The driver leading at the halfway lap will win $10,000, and a fan at home will have a chance to win a beautiful Chevrolet Lumina Z34. If you've entered the contest for this race, your entry is selected and you're called at home. You must name the driver who won the Gillette Halfway Challenge $10,000 award to win the Chevrolet Lumina Z34. If you want to enter the contest at the Miller Genuine Draft race coming up, all you have to do is submit a postcard. Gillette Halfway Challenge, Post Office Box 2246, St. Petersburg, Florida 33731 2246. You must be 18 years of age or older to enter, and we must receive your entry by Saturday, June the 20th to be eligible for the Gillette Halfway Challenge. Let's take a look now at the die-hard starting lineup for today's race. The pole sitter with a new track record, his first pole in nearly 2 years, Ken Schrader in the Kodiak Chevrolet. On the outside of the front row, the runner-up in the Daytona 500, Morgan Shepherd in the Citgo Ford. Row number 2, Bill Elliott, a 4-time winner here at Pocono in the Budweiser Ford. And alongside will be Mark Martin, the winner earlier this year at Martinsville in the Valvoline Ford. Row number 3, the mellow yellow Pontiac, driven by Kyle Petty. He has 8 top 10 efforts at this track. Outside of row number 3, the winner at Bristol in April, Alan Kulwicki in the Hooters Ford. The 4th row, the Interstate Batteries car, driven by Dale Jarrett. His best start in a super speedway this year, and Brett Bodine alongside in the Quaker State Ford. The 5th row, Ricky Rudd in the Tide Chevrolet. Outside of that row in 10th starting position, Rusty Wallace in the Miller Genuine Draft Pontiac. Row number 6, Hut Strickland finished 4th here last July alongside Terry Labonte in the Sunoco car. He's had more top 10 finishes this year than any other driver. The 7th row, Wally Dallenbach Jr. in the Keystone Ford, making his first start here at Pocono, and Derek Cope in the Purelator, former winner of the Daytona 500. Row number 8 has Michael Waltrip and Ernie Irvin. Then Dale Earnhardt and Davey Allison. The 10th row, Sterling Marlin and Dick Trickle. Going back to row number 11, it's Richard Petty and Ted Musgrave. Jimmy Hensley and Darrell Waltrip start in the 12th row. And as you take a look at the rest of the starting lineup, you can see that cars are on the track for their second warm-up lap. We'll be ready to go here at Pocono in just a few moments.
Well, Bob, we saw Harry Dent starting pretty far back in this field. He's former winner here at this racetrack. Don't look for him to stay back there too long.
And let's take a look at this uniquely configured racetrack. We called it a tri-oval, but really it's more of a triangle. The pole speed 162.165, time 55.499 seconds. Will go 200 laps, and the field separated by 8.4 seconds. Now there you can see the arrangement of the racetrack. The pit area is here on the main straightaway, which is 3,740 feet in length. There's the trouble spot. It's the so-called tunnel turn, which is 8 degrees of banking. Turn number 1 is the steepest bank turn. It is 14 degrees, 675 feet of radius. Turn number 2 is only 8 degrees of banking, 750 feet of radius. And then turn number 3 is the flattest. It's 6 degrees of banking and 800-foot radius. All in all, a very challenging racetrack here at Pocono. Here's one of our in-car cameras, the Phillips 66 in-car camera, being carried by Jimmy Hensley. And Derek Cope will be carrying the roof cam for us as we get set for 200 laps of racing in the Champion Sparkplug 500. They come off of turn number 3 and down 3,740 feet of racetrack on the main straightaway, looking for green, and they get it. We're underway.
So far, so good. Schrader out to about a 10-car length advantage, and meanwhile, Morgan Shepherd and Mark Martin side by side, 3 abreast down the back straightaway. Earnhardt on the inside.
Davey Allison is on the outside, and Wally Dalleback Jr. is in the middle. Davey Allison definitely on the move. There are your first 2 in terms of Winston Cup points. Davey Allison and Dale Earnhardt.
I'll tell you, that's one turn you didn't want to go through their side. Certainly not 3 abreast, but they did make it, a couple of them 2 abreast.
You can see the tremendous lead that Ken Schrader has built up already. The great battle is for second position. They come off of corner number 3, and Brett Bodine will go to the inside to make it 3 wide as Mark Martin takes second. Then comes Morgan Shepherd. Bill Elliott and Brett Bodine are side by side as they enter turn 1.
Drafting really plays a big part on this long straightaway here, Bob. That's the reason they get out and try to draft another car. You see Brett Bodine, Dale Jarrett was right behind him. Shepherd up on the high side of the racetrack there, beginning to go back a little bit.
Bill Elliott lost about 5 spots in that shuffle down the front straightaway.
Boy, Ken Schrader has opened up a nice size advantage. The battle is behind him, and the interval between first and second already over 1 second into the tunnel turn once again. Rusty Wallace and Ernie Irvin there at the end of this pack as they come off the second corner and head down 1,780 feet of racetrack, leading to turn number 3.
Morgan Shepherd, Dale Jarrett went through the tunnel corner side by side, and that's tough.
Yeah, it really is. There was a lot of give and take there as they went through that turn. I think Morgan felt comfortable out there that Dale would get in the racing room, and he did. And coming through 3 side by side, now they go down the straightaway. They're going to need a little bit of help here. Who's going to come up and help the other? Now you got a Ford behind the Ford and a Chevrolet behind the Chevrolet. It looked like the Chevrolet might win the battle going into turn 1.
This is 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and on back. Dale Jarrett and Morgan Shepherd go through the corner side by side, and so do Ricky Rudd and Bill Elliott. Shepherd gets a little wide and loses 2 spots.
I think he's going to lose 3 spots because here comes Elliott. Yes, he does lose that. Now Kulwicki's on the inside trying to take the spot away, and Kyle Petty trying to draft off Kulwicki. So Morgan, that little slip up in the corner is going to cost him dearly.
Yeah, he needs to get to the inside of the racetrack if he possibly can. Here comes Ernie Irvin. He's trying to move on the inside as we look out the windshield of Derek Coates' Purolator Chevrolet.
Ernie Irvin qualified 16th, Morgan Shepherd on the outside pole. So Ernie already is gaining considerable ground.
This is a great shot from the roof cam of Derek Coates' Purolator Chevy, the 10th place right now, right behind Ernie Irvin, crossing under the starter stand, completing another lap and headed for turn number 1. Drivers have described going into turn number 1 after that long straightaway like driving into a brick wall and then falling off the edge of the cliff.
Here's Earnhardt on the move, going around Rusty Wallace.
Rusty Wallace qualified in the 10th spot. Earnhardt back in 17th. So again, Earnhardt is on the move. There's Davey Allison. He qualified 18th. So he another car on the move. And Davey Allison again not shifted. Neither is Earnhardt. They took their transmission out this morning and decided he would not shift.
Now, folks, when we talk about shifting, that is unusual on an oval track. And most of them are only shifting twice. Now, those that have the gears in it, they'll shift into fourth gear as they come off of turn 3 and get about halfway down the front straightaway. And then when they go into turn 1, they'll shift down into third and stay in third all the way till they get back on the straightaway once again. The only exception to that is Morgan Shepherd. He said that he was going to shift into fourth, going from turn 1 over to turn 2, and then back down into turn 3, going to turn 2. So he's changing 4 times a lap.
Davey Allison going to the inside with Dale Earnhardt hooked right on his bumper, and they pass Derek Cope, and so Davey now moves into 11th position. Here comes Earnhardt to 12th, and Derek Cope back to 13th.
On top of Derek Cope's car, looking at Davey Allison going in the tunnel corner. They brake, off the gas, now back on the gas, the accelerator.
Rusty now coming on the inside of Derek Cope, and look at Sterling Marlin. He was fast in practice yesterday, fellas, and look at that Ford go right around Rusty and the 10 car all at once.
Oh, he came off that second corner and got a real bite and picked up a couple of positions.
Now, Sterling Marlin said he's one of those that is not shifting gears. He's got a gear in, he's just leaving in fourth gear all the way.
Kyle Petty, also Morgan Shepherd and Ernie Irvin passed by Alan Kulwicki, who got hung out on the outside there in turn number 1. And let's go down to John Kernan, who has a comment on Ernie Irvin.
Bob, they're tracking the progress that Ernie is making versus Ken Schrader, the leader. Of course, Ernie running in traffic, but the last lap by, he was 0.3 of a second faster than Schrader. So Ernie is definitely one of the cars on the move.
He sure is, and is sneaking up on Morgan Shepherd now and looking to take that position away from Morgan. In between the second and third corners, and can't quite get the job done going into turn number 3.
Now, we mentioned that he was the second round fastest qualifier, Ernie Irvin, which started him in 16th position. But actually, overall, he was, I think, about the 5th fastest qualifier. And, of course, it was 2 different days, so conditions were a little bit different. Who knows what he might have done if he'd been able to qualify on Friday when he had an engine problem.
That more than a second lead by Ken Schrader has definitely diminished, and now Mark Martin is within a couple of car lengths. Back in a moment.
Now's the best time to protect your home with Sears Weather Beater. Because right now, Weather Beater Satin Finish exterior paint is on sale, just $15.99 a gallon. Sale ends Saturday, so hurry to the paint store you can count on, Sears.
All two-seaters are temperamental, demanding, expensive.
Not!
Ford Ranger, the two-seater that hates to be pampered.
Mark and my relationship goes way past business. I'm sure in a previous life he and I were twin brothers. Throughout the race, the driver and crew chief communicate. The driver complains about the car or brags about the car. It's the crew chief's job on pit stops to make whatever fixes he can to help the driver's predicament. Everyone has about the same access to equipment and technology, but the people who rub on it the most and think the most of it and think about it the most will end up winning the race.
Fast. Easy. You're done. Yeah. Beautiful. It's Kit. And it lasts.
Welcome back to Pocono International Raceway in Long Pond, Pennsylvania. Live coverage here on ESPN this Sunday afternoon of the Champion Spark Plug 500. Ken Schrader in the Kodiak Chevy car number 25 is your leader. Right behind him now is Mark Martin in the Valvoline Ford car number 6.
Schrader's backing up to the field. Not only has Mark Martin caught him, but right behind Martin is Brett Bodine and Ricky Rudd. So Schrader a little bit not quite as fast as he was those first few laps, first couple of laps.
Boy, he did sprint out there in a hurry at the beginning. Now they're coming in traffic.
Ooh, they go right between the 62 of Mark Thompson.
Yeah, if Mark Martin can make this pass on the outside, I will be impressed. No, he decided to back off and follow through this flat third corner. And, I mean, guys, you got to come through there single file. There's just no way in the world you could run two abreast through that corner. And Mark goes on the inside, tries to take the position away. You see him drop it in high gear. See Martin drop it in high gear. When he did that, Schrader pulled away about a car length.
Meanwhile, while they battle for the lead just behind Mark Martin, as you said, Benny, is the number 26 car of Brett Bodine, and right behind him is Ricky Rudd. There they are.
I would think that Mark Martin would probably have an advantage off the tunnel corner going into turn 3 on the front car. If Schrader's not shifting and Mark is, he would have a little bit more gear ratio coming off this corner than Schrader. He pulls over, but he can't gain enough to get on the inside of Schrader.
Yep.
This is the 4th time that Ken Schrader has led a Winston Cup race this year. Handling and horsepower very important on this racetrack, and it looks like that Mark Martin is going to get the advantage as they come off of turn 3. He pulls alongside at the line. Let's see what happens as they go to turn number 1. Martin may be taking the lead away from Ken Schrader, but Schrader will not relinquish it, and he hangs on to the lead into turn number 1, but now Mark looks like is going to pull ahead as he has the lower line.
Well, that low groove around this racetrack, all these 3 corners, you want to be on the inside of the racetrack, on the very bottom. That is the preferred line, and almost the corner the line you almost have to take to these corners.
Brett Bodine sneaks in on the rear bumper of Ken Schrader, and now Ricky Rudd is right there in 4th position. We mentioned how both handling and horsepower are very, very important at this racetrack. We asked Ken Schrader, which is more important?
Horsepower here, you can't out-handle enough if you're really down on horsepower. You know, you get long old straightaways here, and you got to make some power. But 3 turns, if you can't carry that momentum through those turns, power won't do you any good.
Well, Schrader got out-powered coming off of turn 3 last lap. Now he's going to rely on handling, perhaps, taking the low line into 1 and trying to get the lead back from Mark Martin, but he cannot do it. A great 4-car battle here in the early going.
Meanwhile, as we watch this great battle for the lead, the 3-car, Dale Earnhardt, is off the pace a little bit. We're going to check on that, but we have got a great battle for the lead.
They are running like they're hooked together with a chain coming off the tunnel turn now. And Jerry Punch has a report from Dale Earnhardt's pit.
Well, Dale Earnhardt certainly trying to make his move early on, and one of the comments we might mention is one of the guests in the Earnhardt pit today, a very special guest, a fellow by the name of William Shatner, or alias Captain Kirk from the Starship Enterprise, and appearing here at the Bucks County Playhouse, Pocono Playhouse in Love Letters. And I want to call you Captain Kirk, but
you can call me Captain Kirk if you can hear me. This is my first race, and I can understand why it's the fastest growing sport in the country. I'm at the Bucks County Playhouse preparing a play based on my book, Believe, which is out the book stands right now, which is exciting enough, but this is more exciting than anything.
Well, I know the Starship Enterprise is pretty sophisticated, but these cars are pretty sophisticated as well.
Sophisticated in every way, but I mean the excitement here. I'm loaded with radios and receivers. I'm ready to get anything, and the excitement in the air is just tangible.
Can you beam Earnhardt to the front of the pack?
I wish I could.
Captain Kirk here, alias William Shatner, trying to captain the Starship Goodwrench here at Pocono, guys.
All right, 4 cars up front, and Ned Earnhardt has fallen several positions in the last couple of laps.
Yeah, he's dropped from 11th to 21st spot. He has dropped 10 positions in the last several laps.
Brett Bodine looking for 2nd position into turn number 1. Rudd is right behind him, and Ken Schrader falls from the lead to 4th position in about 3 laps. John Curtin has a report on pit road.
Bob, Brett Bodine doing an amazing job, considering that last week at Sears Point he severely burned his right heel. Earlier in the week they went and tested at Watkins Glen. It was a 3rd-degree burn. They broke open the blister. He was hobbling around all weekend. Spoke with him this morning. He said, hey, it's feeling better. When I get in that race car and it's running as well as it did in that last practice session, I won't even notice it. It doesn't look like he's noticing the pain right now.
Not at all. He has moved the Quaker State Ford to 2nd position, but he's being challenged for that position by Rudd.
And Martin beginning to pull away just a little bit. Schrader now has dropped back to the 4th position.
And Jerry Punch is now with Richard Childress. Perhaps we can get an indication of what's wrong with Dale Earnhardt.
Bob, they are not smiling here at all in the Goodwrench pits. As the car came by a minute ago, RC, it didn't sound very good.
Yeah, we've lost the cylinder. We're just not going to try to stay out, see if we get a chance to take a look at it and see what it is.
Dale Earnhardt on 7 cylinders. Remember, he had climbed all the way to second place in the point standings. This could be devastating to their efforts for another championship. Guys.
Just when Dale Earnhardt thought he might be turning his season around and headed into a contention for the Winston Cup points lead, things go wrong here in the first 14 laps of this 200-lap race at Pocono, and he has fallen way off the pace. And another car, this is the number 9 car of Chad Little, also showing some smoke down the backstretch.
A couple of cars have already gone to the garage. James Hilton has taken his car to, he's coming into the pits right now. Jerry Hill is in the garage, and so is Mark Thompson. Let's go to the pits and John Kerner.
Well, it has to be very disappointing for Chad Little. He's in that car for sure again next week at Michigan. After that, he does not know. In fact, the car owner that he is going to go with next year to form a new team, Redskins quarterback Mark Rippon, is going to Michigan next week to meet with Harry Melling. They might try and work out a deal next weekend where Rippon will come in about a half a year early and work out something so that Chad Little can stay in that car and they can race every week.
All he can do right now is nurse the car toward the pit area because smoke is pouring from it. He has made his way off the third turn and is entering the pit area as we watch the front four as they continue their battle for superiority. That is Mark Martin, Brett Bodine.
Ricky Rudd is slow, Bob.
Yeah, Rudd has suddenly just dropped off the pace.
Man, oh man.
He was one of the strongest cars here early. Now Bill Elliott goes by. Bill will move into fifth place, and Ricky Rudd probably will be coming into the pits. Let's see. Yes, he does as he comes off of turn 3. Here's the Tide Chevrolet down pit road.
Well, Ricky Rudd, who started in 9th position, had moved up to 3rd, but now brings the Tide Chevrolet toward the pit area.
And we can see just how slow he's going down pit road. I don't know what the speed limit is.
70
miles per hour. We can see him. And Jerry punches down in the Rudd pit. Jerry?
They are standing by waiting for Ricky Rudd, and we are told that possibly they have lost some belts, a power steering and oil pump belt. As the car comes to a halt, the engine is shut off, and now Gary Dehart and the crew will raise the hood, and there are just a few shreds of what was left of the power steering and drive belts there. And one problem with that, guys, when those belts come off, no oil pressure, certainly no power steering, but no oil pressure, you can cook an engine in a hurry. They're now working in the front of the engine. A tough break for the Tide Chevrolet driver.
The oil pump is an external unit that sits outside the engine and is driven by a belt. And when you knock that off, that's why Jerry Punch said you have no oil pressure.
So Ricky Rudd continues to sit on pit road while the race continues. He loses laps. There is Mark Martin, the Valvoline Ford, leading this race with Brett Bodine running in 2nd position. And now the 3rd place car is Ken Schrader. We'll be back with more of our live coverage from Pocono International in a moment.
Richard Petty, the only driver ever to win 200 Winston Cup races, all on champion spark plugs.
Jerry, your help out here really does make a difference in the way I run.
Well, Richard, this is our testing ground. It makes a difference in the way we build our spark plugs, too.
They work for me in both my cars, whether I'm racing or going home. I depend on champion spark plugs.
For more racing action, be sure to watch the Champion Spark Plug 400 on August 16th.
There's a lake where the fish are bigger than the tales fishermen tell, where the deer and the antelope do more than roam. They rule. And a place that gives new meaning to the phrase sitting duck. Now you can discover all these places for yourself on the Suzuki King Quad with 2-wheel, 4-wheel, and 4-wheel drive with front differential lock. After all, when you're hunting bear, you can't afford to get stuck in his tracks.
Watch the 24 Hours of Le Mans. You may win a Jaguar XJS convertible. Enter the Bud Light Follow the Leader sweepstakes. Call 1-900-786-2333. 95 cents a minute, 2-minute maximum, must be 21 or over. Entrants will be called at random. The first to name the winning Le Mans race team wins the Jaguar. Everyone called wins a sports bag from Bud Light, America's fastest growing premium light beer. Follow the leader at the 24 Hours of Le Mans on ESPN.
Around the world, around the year, with more than 1 million miles of award-winning auto racing coverage. ESPN Speed World today at Pocono, Pennsylvania for the Champion Spark Plug 500. I'm Bob Jenkins along with Ned Jarrett, Benny Parsons, John Kernan, and Dr. Jerry Punch. And we have completed 19 laps. Mark Martin leads Brett Bodine, Ken Schrader, Dale Jarrett, and Bill Elliott. Running 6 through 10, Kulwicki, Kyle Petty, Morgan Shepherd, Davey Allison, and Sterling Marlin. And if you're just joining us, Dale Earnhardt has dropped off the pace with apparently a lost cylinder, and Ricky Rudd. They've taken his car behind the wall.
Really pushed him into the garage area. Too bad for Ricky, who was having such a great run. But there's a good battle going on here for second place between Ken Schrader and right behind Mark Martin. Mark's pulled out a pretty good lead. Here comes the second and third place cars. Schrader got it beside him over in turn 2, but couldn't make the pass.
Brett Bodine now has dropped off the pace just a little bit. We can see he's falling back. Dale Jarrett's closing up. There's Jarrett, the Interstate Battery car, right behind Schrader. So maybe these tires, when they get a few laps on them, the handling really becomes important.
Well, it does, Jenny. I was talking to some of the drivers and crews down there yesterday. You can see Schrader come off at that turn, pull up on Brett. They said that new tires definitely made a difference for about a second to lap. Here goes Schrader down on the inside of Brett going into turn 2. He's going to make the pass. Brett's not going to fight him.
Schrader will move to second position. And they bump a little bit, and Schrader a little squirrely coming off the corner.
Yeah, he got a little loose when he went down there in front of Brett. The air was taken off his spoiler. Got him a little loose, and Brett tapped him. Now Jarrett, during that little skirmish, was able to catch right up to it.
All this happening about 3 seconds behind the leader. Second, third, and fourth right here as Dale Jarrett has moved up to the 4th position and has hung on to it for the last few laps. Good performance here in the early going by 7th starting Dale Jarrett.
And we see almost the entire group now is catching up with this pack. They're only a few car lengths behind. 2, 3, 4.
John Kernan is with Ricky Rudd.
Ricky has pulled the car back here into the garage area. The Gary Dehart and the crew and to replace those belts. Ricky has the brake come off like that.
They can really cause it as a piece of rubber flies up off the racetrack, gets in between the pulleys and the belt, kicks the belt off. Probably since I've been racing, it's only happened to me maybe once, and seems to happen when you're running rough.
Yeah, you'd already started to move up. Ricky Rudd sitting here in the garage area. They're trying to get it fixed, Jerry, and get it back out on the racetrack.
Well, John, let me show you something that even Ricky Rudd hasn't seen yet. This is what was laying on the engine when he came in. That's what's left of his oil pump and power steering drive belt. It was just literally shredded, and they threw it over, and I caught it as they pushed the car back to the garage area. Not what you want to have happen early on in a 500-mile race. Gentlemen?
It seems so unfair that something so simple like a piece of rubber can bounce off the racetrack and cause so many problems. A year ago at this time, Ricky Rudd was 2nd in the point standings. And now he finds himself in 8th, 262 behind the leader, Davey Allison, as we head into this 13th race of the year. Bill Elliott and Alan Kulwicki are running together in 5th and 6th.
They're closing in on that trio in front of them, which is comprised of Ken Schrader, Brett Bodine, and Dale Jarrett.
I talked to Kulwicki down in the garage this morning. He was very optimistic. He felt like he really had a good start today. And we can see he's closed up on this race for 2nd spot. But meanwhile, he's going to have to handle Mark Martin, isn't he?
Mark Martin is moving away.
Yeah, LG, long gone.
Bill Elliott is a 4-time winner here at this racetrack. He won both events in 1985. He won the summer race in 88 and the summer race in 1989.
Here comes Sterling Marlin trying to pass by Morgan Shepherd. He does it. Maxwell House Ford. He qualified about 17th. He's up into 8th spot now.
Yep. He's 8th, and Morgan Shepherd is 9th. Davey Allison is in 10th position. And then comes Ernie Irvin.
I was just told that Chad Little's problem, one of our spotters said his problem was a burned piston. At this racetrack, that's easy. Down the front straightaway, if you don't shift, you need to pull out of the gas a little bit. Just roll out of the gasoline and don't drive it so deep in the corner. But when you roll out of the gas like that, it's easy to burn a piston. I did that myself. The best I ever ran a Pocono, other than time I won, I burned a piston in the car. Having to roll out of it at the end of turn 1, at the end of long straightaway, going into turn 1.
And Benny was the winner of the NASCAR Winston Cup race back in 1977, and he won the pole for the very first stock car race that was held here at Pocono. That was in 1969. The big 2.5-mile track wasn't ready yet, so you worked in the 3/4, huh?
No, it was a dirt track, and we ran the paved track, 3/4 mile track.
Jerry Punch has comment on the shifting that's going on here in this race. Jerry?
Actually, Bob, with the shifting that's not going on, it's a little bit of humor. You know, all week the drivers have been shifting. They had that road racing transmission in the trying to shift during qualifying, during practice. Well, for the race, many of them, including Dale Earnhardt, Kenny Schrader, others, put the regular transmission back in the car. Their crew chiefs have tried to remind them, whatever you do, guys, do not shift. And if you do shift, please use the clutch, because with a road racing transmission, you don't use the clutch. You just jerk the gears up and back. And one maneuver like that with this transmission, you'd be sitting in the garage here for about an hour and a half.
Well, you really can't shift these transmissions because third gear, when they're shifting these things, they're only 3 or 4 points difference in the gear ratios. In a regular transmission, there's about 20 points difference. If they was to shift into third gear right now, they'd leave the engine laying in the middle of the racetrack right there.
Here's the Jimmy Hensley Phillips 66 in-car camera. He is in 19th position, and watch the telemetry here on the left. And you can see that Jimmy will not be shifting.
Well, he said he was not shifting. This is his first time here to the Pocono International Raceway. I think he had run on the 3/4 mile track, maybe in some modified competition, but had not run on the big track. And said he and the crew figured he didn't need to be having to concentrate on shifting.
We saw 8,100 down the back straightaway. Down the back straightaway, 8,100. We'll see what he turns down the front straightaway. John Kernan has a comment. John?
Talking with Jimmy over the weekend, as Ned pointed out, this is his first time here at the big 2.5 mile track. He did race on the smaller track in a modified in the early 70s, but he's not intimidated by this place. He says it kind of reminds him of a big Nazareth Speedway. Jimmy's got to win there. He was hoping to run well today, but his #1 priority, stay on the lead lap, finish the race, and give us some great pictures and great telemetry.
And he is indeed. While Mark Martin leads this race, Mark did not lead a single lap in the first 7 events of 1992, but he has led in each of the most recent 6 events, including today. We'll be right back.
Racing fans know nothing can match the speed, power, and action of NASCAR. The best drivers in the world pushing 200 miles an hour in heart-stopping racing excitement. And nothing brings you closer to the action than the NASCAR Video Collection. Each 1-hour cassette takes you behind the scenes with exclusive footage you won't see anywhere else. Get an insider's view of the developments in America's fastest-growing sport. You can start your NASCAR Video Collection at this special introductory price of only $9.95. Other cassettes will follow about every month for the regular price. There's no obligation. Cancel anytime. Join the NASCAR video team now. It's the inside track to America's ultimate motorsport, NASCAR.
To order your first 60-minute NASCAR video, call now toll-free 1-800-348-2900. Use your credit card and get the special introductory price of only $9.95. Call now 1-800-348-2900. That's 1-800-348-2900.
Why do sports fans turn to ESPN first? Because baseball is always...
in your face. In your face.
In your face.
ESPN, ESPN, your face.
NASCAR Winston Cup racing on a Sunday afternoon from Pocono. We're inside Jimmy Hensley's Phillips 66 machine with the telemetry and the foot cam, so you can see when he is on and off the brake, the speed, the RPM, and of course we talked about the fact that he'll stay there in 4th gear, no shifting by Jimmy.
Okay, Jimmy Hensley is coming down the front straight. He's right at the start-finish line now. We'll see the thing build up RPM, 8,100, 82, 8,300, 84, 8,500. 8,500 down the front straightaway. Remember, down the back straightaway, all we saw was 8,100. That's why they shift, because they don't want to turn 85 down the front and 81 down the back. They want to turn about the same. They would shift down the front and turn 8,500. With the other transmission, they can turn 8,500 down the back straightaway.
Good indication here also of the top speed. You saw the 196 miles an hour before entering turn number 1, and they'll look out up to almost 190 on the straightaway that separates turns 1 and 2. Here's the leader, Mark Martin, as he completes lap number 29.
There we see Alan Kulwicki trying to go by Bill Elliott, but Elliott's drafting off these other cars. Kulwicki doesn't have a drafting partner, but Kulwicki makes the pass stick.
And he moves into 5th position. Kulwicki to 5th and Bill Elliott back to 6th spot. We might mention that Ricky Rudd is back in the race after spending 10 minutes and 14 seconds on pit road. And here is our first Napa field summary for the day. Watch for your favorite driver. This is how they were running not 10 laps ago, not 5 laps ago. This is the way they were running last time around.
Earl Walters moves up to 12th there. He's
Walters back in 15th, so he's falling back. Earl moving up.
Ted Musgrave is in the pits right now. Scheduled pit stop, I guess, a little bit earlier than we suspected they would come in. We thought they'd run another 7 or 8 laps. But there you see Musgrave is in 25th position, but he is in the pits right now.
Running in 26th, Michael Walter 27th, and Dale Earnhardt has fallen all the way back to 28th position.
And he's only about 10 seconds from going a lap down, Bob. Of course, they will have pit stops coming up in the next 6 or 7 laps.
Jimmy Means already out of the race, and also out, Chad Little. So Andy Belmont was the first to drop out of competition.
Another guy's having troubles. Just he's backing up is a 33 car, Harry Gant. So down the front straightaway, he's having some problems.
The 28 car of Davey Allison is in the 11th position at the moment, trying to hold on to the Winston Cup points lead that he has held since the first race, Daytona 500. And we understand, Jerry, might he be coming in for a pit stop soon?
Indeed he is, Bob. You know, we've already talked about Earnhardt, who's second in the point standings on 7 cylinders. He's having trouble. Maybe a problem for our point leader, Davey Allison. A minute ago, the car suddenly slowed. The crew radioed that they thought he may have lost a cylinder, but Davey corrected, said no, it just jumped out of gear. The car has flown out of gear a couple of times, and the car is just not handling well at all. So they're going to go ahead and bring him in about 3 laps early. We would expect to see all the leaders come in about the next 5 to 7 laps, but Allison probably next time by will bring the Haviland Ford down pit road. They will try to work on the transmission. They will change the spoiler. They will change the air pressure in the right front tire, and they will try to tighten the car a little bit forward and hope he can make 500 miles.
If this car is jumping out of gear right now, he's having to hold it in gear with his hand. When he goes in the pits, someone will jump in the car and put a bungee cord around the shifter to hold the thing in gear.
King Richard Petty has made a pit stop. He relinquishes 20th position to make his first routine pit stop of the day.
So a chassis adjustment on the 43 car.
And Dick Trickle is also in as the Trickle. See what position he was running in last lap. He was in 21st position.
This would be scheduled pit stops. Some of them coming in a little bit earlier than others, depending on how their gas mileage figured out.
Some trouble back on that left rear on the Trickle car. Tough break for Dick Trickle.
Yeah, in fact, he was in for a little over 28 seconds. That was a long pit stop.
And Dick Trickle is one of the guys that's shifting. Now, the problem with those transmissions, when you shift, there's only 4 speeds. First gear, you have to give up something, and what they're giving up is first gear. They basically take it off in second gear.
Jeff Bodine is in the pits, and here comes the car number 68 of Bobby Hamilton. There's Jeff Bodine in the Motorcraft Ford, the more engineered vehicle. And a little trouble there with the right rear, getting it off. Harold Stott maybe didn't get one of the lugs completely loose. Took him a couple of extra seconds. That's the fastest pit crew in the world, at least when they had the competition at Rockingham. They won it.
The tire change on the left side of the car now, and there the car is down off the jacks and away. Meanwhile, the problems continue for Ricky Rudd.
And Schrader comes in, Jarrett comes in, so does Davey Allison. All scheduled pit stops.
And we can see Schrader, that's the white car. This is Dale Jarrett in the green car, and there's Davey Allison with the Texaco star on the hood of that car. All 3 of these guys stopped.
These, of course, pit stops under green, and Jerry Punch is in Davey's pit.
And they have already changed the right side tires, taking the lug nuts off the left side. Crew now putting fuel in the car. As yet, they have not raised the hood. No one has been inside the car to put that bungee cord you heard Benny Parsons talking about on the transmission. They really don't have time on a green flag pit stop. Davey apparently said we'll have to just make do. Davey down and away as Ricky Rudd comes in, and Kenny Schrader.
Schrader moving out, so does Dale Jarrett. Both of those headed back onto the racetrack, and Davey Allison is right behind them. Pit stops averaging around 21 seconds there as the leader of the race, Mark Martin, comes in for his first routine pit stop. These are under green now. We have been green since the drop of the flag to start the race.
And Mark Martin is followed by a host of cars. Alan Kulwicki, Sterling Marlin.
John Kernan is in Alan Kulwicki's pit.
They will bump up the spoiler just a little bit as you see Mark Martin on the top of your screen. Alan Kulwicki on the bottom. It will be a 4-tire change all the way around. Right side's already on for the Kulwicki team. Look at all of it on the front grille. You can see a lot of tar that is cooked up from the racetrack, gotten on there. They've got to get that cleaned out. Left side's now going on Mark Martin's car. Alan Kulwicki is finished and away. So is Mark Martin, and Ernie Irvin has been in for a 4-tire change, and he heads down pit road along with Darrell Waltrip.
Here comes Kyle Petty out of the pits, also Morgan Shepherd. Here comes Rusty Wallace pulling out while Ricky Rudd remains on pit road with the problems that has plagued his car since about the 8th lap.
Yeah, he would not have needed to come in 4 tires and gas at this point, Bob, after spending as much time as he did in the garage area. So his problems continue. It's like here's Brett Bodine in the Quaker State Ford.
He had the lead there for a moment while Mark Martin came in, and now he gives it up to get fresh tires and fuel topped off on the Quaker State Ford.
This is a good pit crew. Boy, they really work fast. 11 seconds. They're already around to the other side. Making a chassis adjustment. You can see screwing down on that right rear. That means the car was a little bit tight with him. Loosening up just a bit. Well, a little bit longer on the left side here. 24.3 seconds for Brett Bodine.
So we'll see how things shake out once all these cars get back on the racetrack.
Well, Mark Martin has gotten out back into the lead, or at least here's Earnhardt coming into the pits, and Jerry Punch will have that story.
And that's 70 miles per hour. That's the maximum speed allowed on pit road today, according to NASCAR. Remember, those are safety rules. Earnhardt brings the car in very deliberately. Remember, he's on 7 cylinders. They're going to try to raise the hood, change 4 tires, put fuel in the car, and the car comes in and you hear it sort of sputtering and missing in the background. Danny Lawrence and Kirk Shelburne now raise the hood while the other part of the Goodrich team are working, changing right side tires. Lawrence looking, hoping and praying. Maybe it's a plug wire, something very simple they can fix. Looking in the left side at the wiring, spraying some solution over the wires to see there may be a short or possibly some fire leaking from one wire to another, maybe a short. They are looking and pouring over the engine compartment. And now Shelberdine has leaned over in the right side of the engine compartment. Maybe he has found something. We'll watch and see. The car still running very roughly as they have changed all 4 tires. Earnhardt now off the jack, but still sitting here in the pits. They put the hood down. They will be ready to send him back out. Let's go up pit road to John Kernan.
Jerry Bill Elliott posted his leader, ducks in on the pit road. 36 laps are on the board. They're going to stretch it just a little bit further than some of the other teams. In fact, they had said they could go as far as 41 laps, but I think they see the other teams putting on some tires and picking up a little bit of speed out on the racetrack. Tim Brewer and the crew will go to work. Right sides and left sides, it will be a full 4-tire change. Wiping that windshield very, very clean. You get a lot of that tar that we showed you early on Alan Kulwicki's car. Comes up and smears along the front windshield. They will have to get that very clean. Tim Brewer now has the left front off. Left's going on. It looks like a pretty good pit stop in the making for Bill Elliott and crew. Lug nuts are tight. He's full of gas. 22.5 seconds for Bill Elliott.
Good pit stop for the Junior Johnson crew with Tim Brewer, and Bill Elliott is back on track.
Yeah, he was running in 5th place before he made that pit stop, Bob. By staying out there, he got 5 bonus points by leading the race, but he also lost some time on the racetrack because he was running on old tires. The others got new tires on, so they're running a good bit faster.
And Harry Gant picks up 5 bonus points for leading this race, and those are 5 very important points. As close as he is in the point standings, he came into this race only 1 behind Bill Elliott in 3rd position in the Winston Cup standings. Harry Gant is the leader at the moment, although he's due a pit stop soon, and we'll be back with our live coverage from Pocono after this.
Introducing Ford's newest car. It doesn't have a sticker price. There's no choice of colors. And it has to be driven 4 times the speed limit to be appreciated. The new Ford IndyCar. If you think our technology looks impressive here, just wait till you experience it down the road. Have you driven a Ford lately?
Recess. Teacher outside, children outside.
Willis Carrier air-conditioned the first schoolhouse in 1926.
Simon says, come on, come out.
Ever since Carrier invented air conditioning,
Just come out just for a minute.
We've been making it better inside.
If you don't come out, you are going to stay after school, huh?
From the first schoolhouse to your house, Carrier makes it better inside. We're the inside guys. Call us.
Recess is a state law.
At age 74, I'm the oldest Ironman triathlete.
Jim Ward has a hobby. It's called staying young.
It's a workout.
That's why he uses Armor All protectant on his dash, seats, and especially his tires. Rubber can age and crack, but Armor All penetrates to keep his tires looking like new. Jim says his tires never seem to get old. People say the same thing about Jim.
I like a good-looking car. It makes me feel good.
There is a fountain of youth, and we own the patent. Armor All.
I gotta run.
Once again, today's race includes the Gillette Halfway Challenge Contest, $10,000 to the driver leading at the halfway point, and a lucky fan at home can win a new Chevrolet Lumina Z34. If you've entered the contest for this race and your entry is selected and you are called at home and can name the driver who won the Gillette Halfway Challenge, you'll win a Chevrolet Lumina Z34. Now, if you want to enter the contest for next week's Miller Genuine Draft 400 on June 21st, write to Gillette Halfway Challenge, Post Office Box 2246, St. Petersburg, Florida, 33731, 2246. You must be 18 years of age or older to enter, and we must receive your entry by Saturday, June 20th to be eligible for next week's Gillette Halfway Challenge.
Harry Gant is still listed as the leader, but this is going to be the race for the lead once Gant makes his pit stop.
He has made his pit stop and lead already, Benny, and the scoreboard out here hasn't shown that, but Ken Schrader is the leader. Mark Martin is in second place. Dale Jarrett is third, and fourth is Davey Allison. Ernie Irvin currently stands fifth.
First, second, and third right there. Here comes fourth and fifth. Allison and Ernie Irvin, who won last week's race at Sears Point International Raceway in California.
That Robert Yates crew must have had a wonderful pit stop to get Davey up to fourth.
Yeah, he was back in what we say 12th position, and Ernie Irvin was back there pretty far as well, and so they're the ones that gained. Here's a change for the lead, or at least Mark Martin is trying to make it a change as he goes down the front straightaway here.
For the second time this afternoon, Mark Martin demonstrates his superiority over Ken Schrader, getting the lead away. Well, he doesn't get it away yet.
No, he sure doesn't. Now, Mark came out in front of Schrader on the pit stop. You know, he had a pretty decent lead before the pit stops, and he did come back out in front. Schrader passed him on the racetrack, but now Martin has caught him back, trying to repass him. You know, Schrader was very fast at the beginning of the race on new tires. He was very fast. Then Martin got around him and pulled away.
And let's not forget Dale Jarrett, who is right there in third spot. Now Martin once again looking like he wants to challenge for the lead off of the second corner. Moving to the inside, headed for turn number 3. Mark Martin will get the lead this time from Ken Schrader.
This is where he's supposed to have an advantage with that transmission, because he's supposed to be turning more RPMs across that short chute than Schrader, and that he should be able to drive up alongside the 25 car, which he did.
We understand that Morgan Shepherd is having a problem in the sit-go forward. He had slowed a little bit a while ago going down the front straightaway, and he looks pretty good on this part of the racetrack. He's currently running in 17th position. He started on the outside pole.
Let's go to Jerry Punch, who has an update on Dale Earnhardt.
Guys, in the emergency department, I use this little bottle of eye wash to diagnose eye problems. Well, today it's being used in the Earnhardt pit by the crew to diagnose an engine problem. You see what they do? They squirt a little bit of this eye wash on the headers, each individual cylinder, trying to see which cylinder is the hottest and which one may be misfiring or which one is the bad cylinder. Remember, he's only on 7 cylinders. But now the problems have gotten even worse for Earnhardt. He has a bad vibration. The car is vibrating and bouncing, so he dropped even further off the pace. The troubles continue here in the Goodrich pit. Let's go up pit road to John Kernan.
Jerry, I'm in Bill Elliott's pit. This is the tire that came off the right rear, and you don't need one of those little gauges to tell you that this thing is just plumb worn out. After 37, 38 laps, you can see the gap right here where it came down at the very end of its thickness. You can just see where it's trying to blister away, tear away. So one thing we're going to have to keep an eye on down here in the pits is tire wear. Key to the race today could be who has found that combination in their chassis setup to not wear out these tires.
There's Bill Elliott. He has dropped back to 11th position, and the pace of the race is quite interesting. 152.720 miles an hour. We are on a record pace because we have had no caution so far in the first 43 laps of this event. Riding right now with Derek Cope, who's right behind Bill Elliott in 12th spot.
You see Derek's face in the mirror.
And hose on the side of his helmet, that is fresh air. Air coming into his helmet. He's through a filter. There we see the outside of the Pure Leather Chevrolet. The black dot on the roof of the car is our camera, our roof cam.
Barry Dodson told me that they were not shifting gears here today in the Pure Leather Chevrolet.
Here's Mark Martin trying to get by his teammate Wally Dallenbach in the Keystone car. And ooh, what did Mark Martin do? All of a sudden, it looked like the car wanted to get sideways down the straightaway.
I think he ran up there and the air off of Dallenbach's car made his car act funny or something.
I don't know. Here comes Davey Allison on the inside of Dale Jarrett going in this flat corner. But meanwhile, they're going to run up on the slower car, and he will not be able to make the pass.
Oof, boy.
There's Ernie on the inside of Dallenbach.
Dallenbach was running in 27th position.
All right, let's take a look at a Big A Auto Parts on-track interval. Timing Kenny Schrader and Ernie Irvin, and look at Irvin between laps 38 and 42.
Well, he's basically a half second a lap faster than Schrader.
And he is still on the move, and look how low he went into that corner. The car obviously handling very well, too.
Well, 22 car, Sterling Marlin passed Ernie down the front straightaway. Now Ernie's trying to pass him back down the back straightaway. This is going in the tunnel corner.
And Ernie backs off a little bit, not much, just enough. He didn't want to slide up into him. He knew if he went in there fast that he'd slide up into him and perhaps wreck both of them. So he knew it was too early in the race to be taking that kind of a chance. He's going to try him now. He'll get him this time in turn 3.
And he goes to 5th position. Ernie Irvin to 5th, Sterling Marlin 6th.
That's Kyle Petty. He's the 7th place car. Here's the leader.
Look at Mark Martin snake down the front straightaway here, trying to shake the draft of Ken Schrader and others. You're watching live coverage of the Champion Sparkplug 500 from Pocono International.
Look for the sign.
Top of the line parts.
The red, blue, and white.
Expert advice.
It's a good sign.
Your Big A Auto Parts store.
Keeps your car running right.
Where the pros go for auto parts.
Big A. The sign that keeps your car running right.
Someone to depend on when you need to depend on your car.
I went to the museum the other day. The Chamber of Horrors, iron ladies that scrunched your body into weird, unnatural positions, not unlike my last car. Fortunately, this Suzuki Swift GA has plenty of room. Gets an EPA estimated 39 mpg city, 43 mpg highway, and I didn't have to have my paycheck surgically altered to own it. Isn't history swell?
The Suzuki Swift GA, starting at under $6,900. It's almost a little overwhelming.
At your nearby Suzuki dealer. Suzuki, everyday vehicles that aren't.
We could go on and on without stopping. Convenient non-stop flights daily. Norfolk International Airport. Easier than ever.
Beginning Thursday afternoon at 3 Eastern, see all the excitement of the U.S. Open live on ESPN.
And if you have a regular job like me, watch it each night at 7:30 Eastern.
Thursday and Friday, there are 2 chances to see the U.S. Open from Pebble Beach, site of some of golf's most beautiful holes and most historic duels.
Double your chances for U.S. Open excitement.
Thursday and Friday, live on ESPN. You look good enough to be on TV.
Last lap, Morgan Shepherd, who started second, was running 26th, but he is now coasting to the pit area. And this is something you'd hate to see, especially on a track like this, when if something happens, it takes you a long way to get back to pit road. Here's Dr. Punch.
About 5 laps ago, Morgan Shepherd complained that the car was really getting weaker and weaker and weaker. It wasn't missing. It was not on 7 cylinders. I was standing here talking to Eddie and Lynn Wood, who are Glenn Wood's sons. They said, well, we really don't know what the problem is unless maybe the rev limiter is malfunctioning, but hopefully we can catch a caution and get a pit stop. Well, that's not happened. The car got weaker and weaker. Just wouldn't get up to RPMs, and finally the car just shut off. They told Morgan to switch to the backup ignition system, but Morgan cannot reach it inside the cockpit, so now he is coasting down pit road. They're going to switch manually to the backup ignition. Hopefully that'll solve the problem, but a tough break for the Citgo team that qualified on the front row here today at Pocono.
Citgo Ford coasting down pit road, looking for its pit area. His best finish this year in Winston Cup competition has been a second. That was at the Daytona 500. He's recorded 5 other top 10 finishes this year. But now the crew goes to work on the car to see if they can get the problem fixed. Jerry?
And they are going to change some wires. They have a coil wires. You're watching the field summary here. This Champion Spark Plug 500, the early laps at Pocono, 49 laps complete of 200, which will comprise its 500-mile event. Morgan Shepherd sitting very quietly in the car as they are now, that's Leonard Wood working, one of the senior statesmen of the Wood Brothers, working to try to change some of the wires coming out of the distributor. They have switched to the backup ignition. One crew member in the car. Now Eddie Wood will climb in, and the car still has not refired here in the pits. A tough break for Morgan Shepherd, and the Wood Brothers had very high hopes of possibly getting a victory here today at Pocono, but apparently that will go away with possibly a wiring or an electric problem.
So while he sits on pit road out on the racetrack, Mark Martin continues to lead this race. Ken Schrader is running second, and Schrader moving in a little bit on Mark Martin.
Beginning to pick back up a little bit again, Bob. Martin moved out a little farther than that. But there's Dale Earnhardt going a lap down.
Yep, there was
2 laps
Earnhardt.
down, as a matter of fact. That was his second lap down. He's currently being shown in 30th position.
Tough afternoon for Dale Earnhardt, who will lose points here this afternoon, or appears to be in that kind of a position. Here he comes off turn number 3.
He's going to pits.
And will pit.
There are 25 cars in the lead lap after 50 laps.
Let's go to Jerry Punch as we are at the 1/4 mark of this race.
Well, Dale Earnhardt coming back in. This is obviously an unscheduled pit stop. The car coming down very, very slowly. He's going to make a turn to the garage area. We're with Richard Childress. RC, what's the problem?
We're going to get ready to find out. I'm not sure.
Apparently, they're going to go work on the cars. They initially thought maybe they would head back to the garage area, but the car has come all the way down pit road and now has come in the pits, and they're going to raise the hood. They have put those heat-resistant Kevlar gloves on, and as Earnhardt revs the engine in the background, you see Danny Lawrence and the crew now looking and working as they're trying to determine which cylinder may be the offender. Possibly a rocker arm, maybe a valve spring, but whatever it is, the Goodwin Chevrolet on only 7 cylinders, and they have as yet not changed tires. A lot of discussion here. Earnhardt losing valuable time here under the green flag.
Davey Allison has moved into a very close 3rd position, right behind Schrader.
Yeah, he was pretty far back, Bob. Of course, he made an excellent pit stop, but once he got around Dale Jarrett, he moved on up and has gradually cut down that distance between he and Ken Schrader.
So there are your top 3. Here is the 4th place car of Ernie Irvin, then Dale Jarrett, and then Marlin and Kulwicki are battling.
7 front cars not too far apart.
Alan Kulwicki lost some time on that pit stop, but now it looks like his car is running well enough. He's closed back in up on the back bumper of Sterling Marlin. You see Kyle Petty back there, another good run. Here comes Kulwicki on the inside of Marlin. The Hooters Ford takes the spot away.
Champion Spark Plug 500 from Pocono, and Dale Earnhardt sits dejectedly on pit road. We'll be right back.
People used to go out on Saturday night and leave their truck at home. Times have changed. Our 92 full-size pickup is still built Ford tough, but we designed it to be more stylish outside, more comfortable inside. Now, if anything gets left at home, it'll probably be their car.
More people are driving the best-built, best-selling American trucks than ever before.
He's waiting about a car length and a half behind Al Jr. Al Jr. now lengthens it out. He's trying to hold him off. Goodyear low, Denver high. They go to 4, Bob Levy.
Allison Jr. has the lead. One more turn to go. Here they come. Coming to the finish line. Bob Jenkins, who's going to win it?
The checkered flag is out. Goodyear makes a move. Little Al wins by just a few tenths of a second. Perhaps the closest finish in the history of the Indianapolis 500.
They've won more road races than any production motorcycle in recent history. But taking Suzuki GSXRs off the track and putting them on the street requires certain modifications. The new Suzuki GSXR 600, now available for home use.
It's a Wimbledon warm-up that Martina Navratilova has won 9 of the past 10 years. Don't miss the finals of the Pilkington Glass Championship, Saturday, only on ESPN.
International, and we've had a change for second position as Davey Allison has moved around Ken Schrader. Davey, we remind you, started in 18th spot because his second best qualifying effort was thrown out when the car was too low. This is how he got second.
Coming off the second corner, Mike Potter got up in front of Kenny Schrader, so they just split. Potter, Davey on the inside, Schrader on the outside, and Davey took the spot away.
So it's Mark Martin now leading and Davey Allison in second. Schrader is third, Ernie Irvin fourth, and Dale Jarrett is in fifth position.
I beg your pardon. Kulwicki just went by him, so now Kulwicki's fifth.
And Darrell Waltrip and Bill Elliott running in ninth and 10th. Let's go down to Jerry Punch.
Well, a flurry of activity here in the Goodrich Chevrolet team behind pit wall. That's Danny Lawrence, Richard Childress, and the rest of the crew working on the front of the engine. The vibration from the car was the harmonic balancer, and which is the pulley which on the front of the crank down in the bottom part of the front of the engine. Now, apparently, when they lost a cylinder early in the race, Earnhardt was turning so many RPMs that just vibrated the harmonic balancer away, which caused the vibration of the engine to get even worse. They had to come in and fix it, and it would just vibrate the car apart, and the engine would just shake itself to pieces. Earnhardt sitting very patiently inside the car. Nothing he can do. They're going to replace the harmonic balancer, but the problem still exists. They don't know why they're on 7 cylinders, but whatever it is, he's losing valuable time and valuable Winston Cup points sitting here behind the wall.
Almost 5 minutes behind the wall now for Dale Earnhardt as we jump inside Jimmy Hensley's car and take a lap with him with the Phillips 66 in-car Camry.
Down the front straightaway, building up 180 miles per hour, 183, 185, 193, 94.
Wow.
Whoa, no wonder that corner you scare me to death. 194 miles an hour, and he got to hit the brakes and turn left. Ooh.
Down to 134 there in the middle of the corner, and now building up the RPM and the speed again.
We'll see what kind of difference in mile per hour we have down the back straightaway before he hits the brakes. 183, 186, 189, 5 miles per hour difference between the two straightaways.
Another guy having a good day is Derek Cope, who is running in 11th position at the moment and works inside his car now. With the Purolator race cam.
His mirror's too big. He's blocking off all the racetrack for us.
Well, we can see him, though.
How do I fix the racetrack?
Now, folks, he's able to see out the left side of that windshield. That mirror is not in his view. It's just in our view.
You don't like the in-car camera? We got one on the top of it.
Okay.
That's giving us some great pictures.
Going around James Hilton. James still out there. Made another pit stop. He's still out there running. He told me this morning he's going to run as far as that thing can carry.
Derek Cope's best finish this year has been a 10th at Bristol. There is the leader, Mark Martin, looking for his second win of the 1992 season. He won at Martinsville, but not too far behind is the current Winston Cup points leader, Davey Allison. Here's Jerry.
Guys, first of all, I want to compliment Benny Parsons. Benny, you were exactly correct. The problem with the car jumping out of gear was solved during that pit stop by attaching one of these bungee cords to hold the shifter in gear. They have the shifter tied to the floorboard. Davey is holding a hand on top of it, trying to hold it in gear. And while all this is going on, he's closing on the leader, guys. Pretty good job.
Is that what them people use when they jump off of them high places? The bungee?
I couldn't tell you that. I'm not
something
jump
like
off
that. Something like that. A little stronger.
Yeah,
but
and a longer one probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see Allison there really is on the move.
My hat's off to Larry McReynolds and the crew on this Davey Allison car. Oh, there's Harry again, about to go a lap down. Now here comes Kulwicki. He's on the inside of the 4 car trying to take that 4 spot away. He has it. I think that Kulwicki is the quickest car on the racetrack right now.
I think you're right.
And John Kernan has a comment on pit road.
Guys, you're not the only ones who think that Kulwicki's the fastest car on the track right now. Tony Glover and the crew have been clocking both Ernie, their driver, and Kulwicki. They told Ernie on the radio that when Kulwicki gets close to you, just let him go on by. Don't try to race with him right now. He's awful fast. Save your car, and we'll be ready to race at the end of this event.
Alan Kulwicki moving up to 4th position, and Ernie Irvan back to 5th. It's been a variably cloudy day. First sun, then clouds, and now the sun's out again.
And that does make a difference in the handling. When the sun is out, it makes the car slicker. When the sun goes behind the clouds, it makes the car tighter. There goes Harry again, a lap down on the Skull Bandit.
He is 25th position. Harry running in 25th, and he waves Davey Allison by also. So now we have 24 cars on the lead lap. Running in 24th position is Michael Waltrip. Davey Allison leading Mark Martin leading Davey Allison in the Champion Spark Plug 500.
The Suzuki Intruder. She's beautiful, and she cooks.
There's only one place to get the big burger more people prefer. We're the one.
We're the one, we carry the name. We're the one, we cook on a flame. Our Whopper is #1. You're the one.
The one and only Whopper at Burger King. Fixed fresh, served hot. Just the way you like
For
it.
the best burger on a bun. We are the one. You'll win right away at Burger King now.
We're the one.
On June 19th, Larry Holmes is going to face a very serious crisis. He may take it very hard. He may have to seek professional help, or it may be business as usual. Budweiser presents Evander Holyfield versus Larry Holmes, June 19th from Caesars Palace. Live on TVKO. Available only on pay-per-view. Call your local cable operator to order. See just how well Larry Holmes handles a serious crisis.
He breaks a tackle at the 5, slides into second, rounds the backstretch, dribbles between the legs, shreds the mogul, catches air, skates past center right, serves an ace, connects.
The Suzuki Dual Sport 350S, the ultimate cross trainer.
And what a ride!
Here are the top 5 after 62 of 200 laps at Pocono. Mark Martin is the leader of the race. Winston Cup points leader Davey Allison running second. While we were away, Alan Kulwicki, who Benny describes as the fastest man on the racetrack, is third. Ken Schrader drops back to 4th position, and in 5th, last week's winner, Ernie Irvan. Jerry Punch is in Morgan Shepherd's crew.
Bob, we're behind the wall. What you're looking at is the distributor that began on the front row today inside the Citgo Ford. Now this shaft, you see me wiggle it with my little finger, and it's pretty doggone hot, so I'm not going to wiggle it very much, has snapped off just below the main plate here. That's why the car was getting weaker and weaker and would not fire. Now behind me, they are working to replace the shaft, getting ready to refire the car. They put a new distributor in. That is Leonard Wood, Lynn and Eddie Wood. And as we speak, the car is fired. Morgan should be getting back into racing. He's lost a lot of valuable time. But remember, with the car misfiring as badly as it was, they may have more problems before the afternoon is over.
Morgan has been in for about 13 minutes behind the wall, and he has dropped down to 33rd position. That's about 15 laps off the pace, but hopefully he can get back in competition soon. There is Mark Martin now approaching Morgan Shepherd, Michael Waltrip, who's running in 22nd position.
Well, there's a couple of drivers already made their second pit stops. Dick Trickle, who was running 22nd, has come in. He came in earlier on the first pit stop. We'll see pit stops coming up here by all of them before too long. Greg Sachs in the Kellogg Chevrolet was running 13th. He made his pit stop. And Ted Musgrave, who was in the 24th position, just made a pit stop.
We've been green since the very first time it came out. No caution flags in this race, and the Alan Kulwicki car is already up to 3rd position, and we asked him earlier in the weekend, what are the keys to this track? Power or handling?
The straightaways are what you definitely have to have power here, you know, but if your car won't handle it, you'll lose a lot of momentum in the corner, and the guy gets a run at you, and they'll beat you. You've got to have both.
Yep, he's got them both now, I'll tell you, and he's putting all that horsepower to work.
Sure seems to. There's James Hilton again as Kulwicki goes by him down in the first corner.
Jeff Bodine and Richard Petty just made pit stops. Others will be coming in over the next 10 laps.
There's Paul Andrews, crew chief for Alan Kulwicki, the Hooters Ford, trying to figure out what he can do to win the race. That's very simple. Just what do you got to do to win the race?
Not win it.
It's not that easy to be there first.
Sounds easy, but it isn't. There's the leader, Mark Martin, Davey Allison.
And here comes Davey in the pits. Davey Allison coming in.
Yep, a little bit earlier than we thought he might, but certainly doesn't want to take a chance. Folks, you don't want to run out of gas on this racetrack because it's so tough. We saw Morgan Shepherd coasting around there a while ago, and it takes forever to get back to the pits. So Davey Allison coming in, taking no chances, and chances are he can stay in the lead lap by coming in and making a pit stop, even changing all 4 tires. He still should be able to stay in the lead lap, so if a caution should come out, it really wouldn't hurt him.
This is lap number 65, and Davey making his second pit stop of the day.
Another chassis adjustment.
Well, that wasn't
not much.
About a quarter of a turn. He must have that baby dialed in.
That was close. 21 seconds. Good pit stop. There's Derek Koch, you can see, and Brett Bodine also coming in.
Davey went 33 laps before his first pit stop and completed 31 between the first and second. Here's Jerry Punch.
Work continuing on the Dale Earnhardt car behind the wall. Remember, they had on 7 cylinders. They are changing the harmonic balancer. But we can show you what the offending problem was. Rocker arm broken on cylinder number 3. The rocker arm is sheared off here as you hear Morgan Shepherd's car having fired behind me. He's revving the engine. Earnhardt's car has not refired, but this is what's left of the rocker arm on the 3rd cylinder in this Chevrolet. They're going to replace that. Earnhardt should be back to full power here momentarily.
And he has been behind the wall now for more than 14 minutes, and he has dropped to 32nd position. About 16 laps behind. Mark Martin continues to set the pace now. Running in 2nd spot is Alan Kulwicki, since Davey Allison just made a pit stop.
Ken Strader still running 3rd. Ernie Irvin. Let's see, I thought I saw him getting ready to come into the pits there a moment ago, but he hasn't pitted.
Well, there's Darrell Waltrip. He's in 9th position. He's the defending champion of this race and always runs well at this racetrack. Darrell in 9th spot.
He told me the other day that he didn't qualify very well, but said the car just feels perfect. Absolutely like he can drive it any place. He feels like he'll be in good shape to win the race.
3rd place car of Ken Schrader comes down pit road for his 2nd routine pit stop. Jerry, he's headed towards you.
And it should be a routine pit stop for the Kodiak team. Ken Howes, the crew chief here. David Oliver, all the crew working here on Kenny Schrader's pole-winning Chevrolet Lumina. Brings the car to a stop exactly on the mark. They hand Schrader an ice-cold drink, changing right-side tires. Remember, these pit stops about every 33 to 34 laps. Got to be very careful with the fuel. Remember NASCAR's new fuel templates there for the fuel cell. Left side tires coming off. Looks like a pretty flawless pit stop so far. A major chassis adjustment there. The back of the car. He is down and away. 21, a little over 21 seconds for Kenny Schrader. Let's go down to John Kernan.
Jeff Hammond and Darrell Walters' crew are awaiting the arrival of DW on pit road. Mark Martin, though, the leader, we can see is ducked in onto pit road, maybe just a couple of laps earlier than what we had anticipated. We also see Ernie Irvin's crew is getting ready for him to come down. Jerry, Mark is just passing me. On your way.
And our leader, Mark Martin, brings the Valvoline Ford Thunderbird out of the Jack Roush stable. Steve Meal and the crew getting set. They scamper over the wall. And we would expect to see what would be a routine pit stop. Mark waves off the water, said, I don't need any ice water. I'm having fun. I hear, guys, it's not a hot day. It's a beautiful day in the Pocono Mountains. As Martin's crew now has changed right side tires. And like a high-speed ballet, they come around to the left side, have the left side tires off. No chassis adjustment. Trying to get fuel in the car. And the caution flag is being shown in the field as one crew member was apparently stuck in the edge of the car. That was Steve Meal, who was the team manager. And he apparently had his arm stuck inside the car trying to get ready to turn around.
Something's wrong, Jerry. Something's wrong with the car. He stopped past the exit of the pits and now backing up. Meanwhile, the caution is out because a car spun down in turn number 3.
Alan Kulwicki had taken the lead, so he's going to get to make his pit stop under yellow rather, and Mark Martin just went a lap down.
What's going on here, guys?
I don't know, unless the lug nuts are loose. Unless the lug nuts happen to be loose on their car, and they don't want the wheels to fall off someplace.
So Mark Martin is backing. Yeah, there it is. In fact, the left front is almost a roll off, Jerry.
And that's what Steve Meal was trying to do, was tell him apparently they did not have the lug nuts tight on the left front. Steve was trying to communicate. It must have been a radio failure, because as Steve turned around to talk to the driver, they dropped the jack. and that's usually the signal for the driver to go. And now they have basically scalded the wheel. The wheel that they had on the left front will not work. They're trying to get another tire up here. They had to run back behind the wall. What a tough break for our early race leader, Mark Martin. A problem in the pits. And now finally, by the way, Steve Mill is okay. That's him putting the tire on. He is the team manager here. He's the one you saw take that somersault on pit road. They drop it off the jack. And a tough break for Mark Martin and the Jack Roush team.
But it's not going to be too bad a break because he did not get lapped.
Yes, he did.
Oh, he did get lapped?
He did get lapped, yep.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep, he got lapped because as he was backing up pit road, Alan Kulwicki went by.
Now here's the original.
See,
you can see
gun
Steve's gun. Yeah, gun won't work, and he's saying, no, Mark, don't go because the lug nuts aren't tightened. And Mark drove down pit road just a little bit before deciding to back up and get those lug nuts tightened. Well, Alan Kulwicki now will come in as we are under caution because of a spin by Jimmy Horton. Let's go down to the pit road.
Well, Bob, Alan Kulwicki's crew is awaiting his arrival on pit road. Alan felt very, very optimistic, he told me this morning, and he's been running near the top 5 all day long. It will be a 4-tire change as Paul Andrews and the crew go to work. We've got Alan Kulwicki on the top of your screen. Darrell Waltrip also in for service. He was posted as the 3rd place car. Darrell has told Jeff Hammond and the crew that the car is just a little bit tight, so we look for them to loosen it up with a chassis adjustment. Left side's going on Alan Kulwicki's car. They're just finishing up the right sides on Darrell. Left side going up on the 17 car. Kulwicki is out of the pits, and Waltrip still sitting in the pits waiting for the left side lug nuts to be tightened. They get him down and away. Good pit stops all the way around.
Scramble out of pit road. Here comes Dale Jarrett and Rusty Wallace, while Ken Schrader remains on pit road as they get the left sides changed on that car.
Okay, now see, he just made a pit stop not very long ago. Apparently he didn't like that set of tires he had on, so he came back in. And
Jimmy Hensley also pulling back onto the racetrack. We're under caution for the first time this afternoon on lap number 70. We'll be right back.
You'd think the world would be nothing but a blur at this speed. But at 200 miles an hour, a lot of things become clear. Like what technology can help make our cars perform better, our trucks tougher, and help make them all safer for the street. Because at Ford, we want to stay ahead in more places than just the racetrack. Have you driven a Ford lately?
There's never been a better time to tackle those big painting jobs. Because right now, Sears Easy Living Satin Finish interior paint is on sale. Only $13.99. Save $3 a gallon. And Easy Living means one coat coverage you can count on. Only at Sears.
Over 1 million people each week walk into AutoZone. And taking care of them means having what they need when they need it. That means stocking a lot of parts for a lot of cars. Now, nobody can stock everything, but we stock more than most. And how do we know which ones to carry? That's easy. We listen to our customers, because nobody knows better about what you want than you. So the next time you walk through that door, you might think of yourself as a customer, but we think of you as the boss.
Allison Jr. has the lead. One more turn to go. Here they come.
The checkered flag is out. Little Al wins by just a few tenths of a second. Perhaps the closest finish in the history of the Indianapolis 500. Pit stop still being made here as we are under caution for the first time. Jimmy Horton spun up in turn number 3. That brought out the caution. He has driven to the garage area since. King Richard, Pocono memories, well, his 29th start, 2 wins. The last one was in August of 1976, 8 top 5 finishes. And the King and Jerry Punch remember one of his other victories in this week's Petty Memory.
This Richard Petty Memory is brought to you by the First Brands Corporation, makers of STP Son of a Gun Protectant. While most fans know his historic 200th career victory came at Daytona in 1984, many don't realize that Richard earned win number 100 at a unique site.
Bowman Gray Stadium in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, 1969, quarter-mile flat asphalt track around the football field. And, you know, it was just a situation we was running forwards. We ran forwards that one year, just in 69, and we won, I guess, 10, 11 races that year. But just, you know, we was just running running races and winning races, and didn't think about 100 being that special. Nobody else had won but 50 or 60 or whatever they'd won.
If you don't like the looks of your car, shoot it with Son of a Gun from STP. Shoot the dash, seats, tires, and roof. Son of a Gun protecting. Man, what a difference.
He's Stock Car Racing's all-time winner. He's Stock Car Racing's all-time most popular driver. He's the King, Richard Petty. In this new ESPN home video, The Ride of a Lifetime, Richard Petty and STP, you'll have the chance to come along with me, Dr. Jerry Punch, for a personal visit to Richard's home, and we'll show you classic video footage of Richard's greatest moments. To get your copy, call 1-800-342-3400.
There's King Richard Petty as he pulls out of the pit area, and there are some Richard Petty fans that have gathered here from Stormville, New York, it looks like.
Wow, what a bunch. That must be the whole crowd, the whole town.
Let's take a look at this incident that occurred on pit road during this caution when Mark Martin came in for what appeared to be a routine pit stop. But watch Steve Meal now on the left front of the car.
He's on the rear. Steve Meal is on the rear. The left front guy starts to tighten up the wheel, but he gets a lug nut, Jerry Punch told us, jammed up in the gun. So he's beating the gun on the ground. Steve Meal sees the problem, and he's trying to tell Mark, no, don't go. And he gets his hand hung in the car. He finally lets go and does a header. Ooh!
Boy, he's lucky.
Not much for him there.
Well, I'm glad he's okay. He tore up his shin guards, it looks like, a little bit, but hey, he's okay. Didn't shake off something more serious than that.
Well, fellas, they are a lap down, but I would think that they feel pretty confident as fast as that car's been running that they'll be able to get back in the lead lap.
Yeah, he's back in 24th position, but will be able now as they line up for a double file restart to perhaps get that lap back. Here comes the field off of corner number 3, and the leader of the race is Ernie Irvin, according to the scoreboard.
The 26 car, Brett Bodine, the Quaker State Ford, according to the board, is a lap down.
Yep, he's on the lead lap, but at the tail end of the lead lap. That's right.
Yeah. He's out there trying, and he got back out of the pits first, so he could start it there in that position. He just hopes that a caution comes out again here pretty quick before Ernie Irvin gets up there too. Kyle Petty is running in second place.
We see Kyle in the 42 car, the mellow yellow Pontiac. Michael Walter at the 30, the Pennzoil Pontiac, is a lap down.
Davey Allison is third. The 66 car, another one of those that benefited from track position as he has moved up now into the top 10, Jimmy Hensley.
Right, Jimmy. You see, who is that? Rusty Wallace that he's closing up on the outside. He's on the inside of Rusty.
Dick Trickle just ahead. Yep. Hello, genuine direct Pontiac. Here's our Napa Field summary. Look for your favorite driver where he was running last lap just before we went green. 14 cars on the lead lap with Rick Mast a lap down in 15th. Mark Martin, as you can see now, 17th position as he is trying to get back on the lead lap after having, without question, the superior car in the first 70 or so laps of the race before that unfortunate pit road incident.
Well, Bob, before they started making that round of pit stops, we had about 23, 24 cars in the lead lap. About half of the field had pitted before the caution came out, maybe more than a half, and some of those that were maybe more than a half lap down, they did get lapped, and then of course the caution came out, and Alan Kulwicki had not pitted, so that put a lot of them lap down that had been running in the lead lap.
And here comes Mark Martin.
He got in front of Davey Allison. Now all he's got to do is pass the 7 car, and the 28, the 42 car,
and then the 4 car.
And then the 4 car. And he'll be, when the caution comes out, he'll be back in good shape. Sounds easy, but believe me, folks, it's not that easy.
That can be a tough chore.
There we see Mark Martin jumping on the inside, trying to get on the inside of Michael Waltrip. And meanwhile, here's Alan Kulwicki, who was, along with Mark Martin, had one of the better cars before the caution came out.
Even with that caution period, we are still on record pace. We had only one caution. By the way, the record for fewest number of cautions at this track was 1 for 3 laps in July of 1978.
Well, the 26 is now a lap down. Ernie Irvin, the Kodak Film Chevrolet, was able to get by him. So Kyle Petty trying to get inside, and yes, Brett knew he was there.
Let him go. Brett shown in the 14th position, so now 13 cars are on the lead lap.
This is the 6th consecutive race that Ernie Irvin has led a lap, and Mark Martin is on the move.
He's definitely on the move. I imagine he's got a little bit more than incentive than most the rest of them right now, because he's got to be a little bit warm.
And here comes Alan Kulwicki looking to the inside of Brett Bodine there in turn number 1, trying to put him a lap down.
We saw our pole sitter, Kenny Schrader, way back there, so he must have made a late pit stop.
He did. We saw him come in the pits late there and change tires again. We understand that Dale Earnhardt is back on the track, but boy, he is many laps down.
Sure is. 33rd position. He had completed 49 laps when he came in, and we're on 75, so that's how many laps he is down. He was behind the wall for just a little over 28 minutes. So 76 laps have been completed now, with Ernie Irvin and Kyle Petty running first and second in this race at Pocono. We'll be right back.
Hearing the pitter-patter of little feet when there's no one home to pitter-patter? Maybe you've got bugs. Big, nasty, disgusting bugs. Let National Termite Protection and Pest Control save the day. National Residential and Commercial Exterminating. Serving the entire peninsula, we have time to kill.
My favorite, the new Sunday Daily Press. Automotive, local, sports, business, home, lifestyles, and let's see, parade, comics, and the Sunday TV magazine. Complete TV listings, and here we are, pay-per-view. TV's best movies, sports, concerts, all right here in the weekly TV magazine. Pay-per-view on cable TV. Easier to find, handy to keep, and all in Sunday's new Daily Press. Call for home delivery and have pay-per-view right at your fingertips.
Is in your face on ESPN. With America's Game of the Week, Sunday Night Baseball, plus single games on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday nights, and a Friday night doubleheader. Sunday night, division rivals clash in a tight NL West battle. Barry Larkin leads the Reds. Brett Butler sparks the Dodgers live at 8 Eastern on America's Game of the Week, ESPN Sunday Night Baseball.
There are the top 3 at Pocono. It's Ernie Irvin in the lead, Kyle Petty running in second spot, and Alan Kulwicki is in third at the end of 78 of 200 laps in this champion Sparkplug 500. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball. Hey, the Cincinnati Reds are on a roll. They have taken the lead in the National League Western Division, and they meet their arch rivals, the Los Angeles Dodgers, tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, live on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball, and then at midnight tonight. Join us for the Grand Prix of Canada from Montreal. We'll be on at midnight Eastern Time. I was up there for Speed Week late last week, and boy, the city is all abuzz, and Nigel Mansell's trying to add another victory to his column this year. Ayrton Senna is trying to win one. Midnight tonight for the Canadian Grand Prix. Here's Tony Glover as he's watching his driver Ernie Irvin lead this race. John?
Hey, Bob, it looks like Ernie's got things pretty much the way he wants it, right?
No.
No, wrong. You got that. After about 8 laps into the race, the car developed a push. They still haven't gotten rid of it completely. The car is still tight in the turns. Tony Glover says, hey, as well as they're running right now, they can run even better, and they're going to keep working on the car, loosen it up a little bit more on the next pit stop.
The reason I said no is because that 7 car of Kulwicki got by Kyle Petty. He's the next car in line behind Ernie Irvin, and he is shown to be, after a few laps, definitely one of the fastest cars on the track.
Davey Allison, the points leader, is 4th. Dale Earnhardt, second in points, 33rd. Elliott is 6th, Harry Gant 28th, and Alan Kulwicki is 3rd. If the race were to end right now, Dale Earnhardt would trail Allison by 124 points. And at the beginning of the race, Dale was only 28 points behind. So it hasn't been a good day for Dale Earnhardt, but we'll watch him try to pick up some more spots. He came back into the race in 33rd position.
Well, Harry again, I mean, he's not really had any problems other than the fact that the car just is not running that well today. And there we see the leader, Kodak Film Chevrolet on the left. That's the yellow car. And right behind them is Alan Kulwicki, the Hooters Ford, in second place. Did I hear somebody say they had to change the battery on the 33 car?
Yep. Look at Morgan Shepherd.
Well, Morgan, nothing happened to him, I don't think. I think Morgan, he's many laps down. Darrell Waltrip knows that. He's not going to take any chances right now. Darrell's running up there in the top 10. In fact, he's running in the 7th position right now. He feels that he's in shape to win this race. He's not going to mess with somebody that's several laps down.
Right behind him is Eric Cope in the number 10 car, still having a good run.
Meanwhile, there's Dale Jarrett down on the inside, trying to make it pretty deep. There's Cope. Careful, Derek. He had his hands full for a second there, guys.
Sure really did. He is down a lap, by the way, in 17th position. 13 cars on the lead lap. Ooh, here's some side-by-side. That's Dick Trickle, and boy, he's so close to that car. Oh, it's Cope.
I see that Trickle probably pulled up behind Cope and got him loose. That's why he has his hands full going off that number 1 turn down there.
Trickle is being shown in the 19th position, 1 lap down. We mentioned that he had made an early green flag pit stop, and he is one of the drivers that went a lap down as a result of the green flag pit stop.
There's Rusty Wallace, Michael Waltrip, and there is Ken Schrader, the pole sitter for this race, eligible for $53,200 in Unocal bonus money. Jerry?
Well, one of the reasons you see Kenny Schrader mired back in about 15th spot right now is because he came back in the pits under the yellow flag just moments ago to change all 4 tires. Now, he had just been in about 2 laps before the yellow came out to change 4 tires, but he developed a vibration. So a break for Schrader, the yellow flag, actually an advantage for him to be able to come back in under the caution and change 4 tires. And now he's trying to pick them off one by one and not abuse the car. He still has one of the best cars here today and has a good shot at picking up the win.
And the 7 car of Alan Kulwicki is closing in on the leader, Ernie Irvin. It's now down to about 3, make that 2 car lengths. And we're getting closer to the halfway mark. If you've entered the Gillette Halfway Challenge and you're called at home and can name the driver who won the Gillette Halfway Challenge Award, you'll win a new Chevrolet Lumina. If you enter the contest for next week's Miller Genuine Draft 400 at Michigan on June 21st, write to Gillette Halfway Challenge, Post Office Box 2246, St. Petersburg, Florida, 33731-2246. You must be 18. We must receive your entry by Saturday, June the 20th to be eligible for next week's Gillette Halfway Challenge. That's coming up.
Excuse me?
Let's all talk at once, guys.
Go ahead, Bob.
You go ahead.
You're our leader.
I was going to say. And we are 17 laps away from the halfway point now.
And Ernie Irvin is not shifting. We talked about shifting the cars that are and aren't. Ernie Irvin supposedly is not shifting. Alan Kulwicki told me he does shift twice a lap.
So Ernie Irvin looking for his second consecutive win in NASCAR Winston Cup competition. He came home the victor last Sunday on the road course at Sears Point.
Mark and my relationship goes way past business. I'm sure in a previous life he and I were twin brothers. Throughout the race, the driver and crew chief communicate. The driver complains about the car or brags about the car. It's the crew chief's job on pit stops to make whatever fixes he can to help the driver's predicament. Everyone has about the same access to equipment and technology, but the people who rub on it the most and think the most of it and think about it the most will end up winning the race.
Pronto Auto Parts. From coast to coast, your local Pronto Auto Parts store features friendly service and quality auto parts at lower prices.
Just a reminder, proper maintenance with AC Delco parts can significantly reduce premature wrinkles. AC Delco, it's like buying time.
When you need to know about auto parts, ask the pro at Pronto.
If only your tires could talk.
It's so tiring. He babies the car, then abuses me with messy vinyl cleaner. Hey, I'm rubber. No-touch tire care. Ooh, nice foam.
No-touch tire care, the first product to clean, shine, and protect tires in one easy step. No scrubbing, no dirty rags, no mess.
Yeah, clean and shiny. Oh no, bad doggy, go away.
Treat your tires right with no-touch tire care.
Record-setting Nigel Mansell is having a dream season, but last year's Canadian Grand Prix was a nightmare. Leading on the final lap, his gearbox died. He tries to shift back into high Sunday night on ESPN.
Pocono International Raceway near Long Pond, Pennsylvania. Live coverage of the Champion Spark Plug 500, stop number 13 on the NASCAR Winston Cup Series for 1992. Our Speed World coverage is being brought to you by Goodyear, #1 in tires. Race continuing and nearing the halfway point, as a matter of fact, as Alan Kulwicki has gotten around Ernie Irvan, and Kulwicki picks up the lead here in the race.
And just a moment ago, we saw Kulwicki. He did this down in turn 1. He got inside Ernie Irvan, took the spot away, and now Mark Martinhead really has his work cut out for him, because Kulwicki has shown to be the fastest car on the racetrack. It's going to be tough to catch him and pass him.
Well, it is. I think Mark might have been gaining a little bit on Ernie Irvan when he was leading the race, but I agree. Once the Kulwicki's got out there, I think it's going to be awfully tough for him. He is the next car behind him, but there's a good bit of space between him there. You can see how much he has to make up to get up there to the 2 leaders.
The pass occurred in turn number 1 a couple of laps ago, and here's how Allen got by Ernie.
About the breaking point, Kulwicki dives on the inside, takes that preferred line. Nothing Ernie could do except back off and let Allen go. Fall in behind him. And we can see that he's already put, what, 4 or 5 car lengths on the 4 car. Average speed.
Yeah, almost 5 miles an hour faster than the track record. Over 147 miles an hour is the speed of this race. Only interrupted by a caution one time. That was for a spin down in turn number 3 by Jimmy Horton.
Well, some of the guys in the pits told me this morning that the average speed that their laps would be about 2 miles an hour, or about 1 mile an hour, or 2 miles an hour faster than last year, because the tires are better, the cars are better. The pace is just faster this year than it's ever been, as witnessed by Schrader's track record in qualifying.
There's Darrell Waltrip now, and he is in 5th position. Is he trailing something there? Yeah, something's loose, flapping around in the breeze.
What is that?
Doesn't look like it's part of the bumper, does it?
No, it doesn't, because the bumper's still orange all the way across there, unless they painted underneath that before it came off. I don't know.
Unless the right side of the bumper has come loose, and maybe we can see as we go down the back.
We should be able to get a tighter shot of it here.
Yeah, the bumper is, that's just a piece of rubber covering over the bumper or something, and it's
now,
broken, it's come loose.
I'll tell you what that is, guys. That's the license plate holder that's come loose on it. Here's John Gurney.
Hey, you may be right. Just talked to Jeff Hammond, and he said that someone hit him in the rear end, and it's a piece of the aluminum that's bent up off the bumper. He says it should be no problem, although he's not too happy about the little love tap.
Now, Darrell Waltrip continuing to run in 6th position here.
Kyle Petty just moved around Davey Allison and took over 3rd. As he came off of turn 3.
CDW.
And right behind him is Bill Elliott in 7th.
Bill's looking at that thing and said, "Don't come off and hit my windshield." He doesn't know exactly what it is, whether it's metal or fiberglass or what it might be.
Probably wouldn't do any damage to Elliott's car, except he would scare him to death.
Yeah, especially if you were going into turn 1.
There's the interval between 1st and 2nd, Kulwicki and Ernie Irvan.
Well, Kulwicki does have a fast car.
He does. He wasn't lying to me this morning. Usually those guys lie to me, but he was telling me the truth this morning.
And there is the 3rd place car of Kyle Petty, and right behind him is Davey Allison in 4th.
Yeah,
Kyle's had a good run, hasn't he?
Yeah, he just went around Davey the last lap. Now, here comes the 28 car right back up on his back bumper.
And here comes another Napa field summary for you. Running down the entire field the way it was positioned last time around.
I was here pole sitter Schrader back in 8th spot. Jimmy Hensley still in the top 10.
Yeah, doing a fine job. 13 cars on the lead lap. Mark Martin is still a lap down. He may be one of the fastest cars on the racetrack, but has not yet made up his lost lap. Richard Petty running in 20th position.
A lot of cars that are just 1 lap down. And as I said earlier, many of those got a lap down as a result of making green flag pit stops. Then the caution coming out. Alan Kulwicki had not made a pit stop. He was the leader of the race at the time. So that they got caught up in that situation.
There's Dale Earnhardt. He is 27 laps down, but he is back on the track, still in 33rd position. And there are the cars that are out of the race.
We saw the 21 car was in front of Dale Earnhardt, so I'm sure he's going to pass Morgan Shepherd in the rundown, so that'll be one spot he'll gain.
Well, Shepherd's back out there running again.
Is he back again?
Yeah, he did come into pits for a while again, but he is, I saw him just a moment ago.
Okay, the Mellow Yellow Pontiac, Davey Allison, 5-star Ford Thunderbird, two of the brightest young stars in Winston Cup racing.
There's Alan Kulwicki on the left, the leader. Ernie Irvan, second place on the right. And John Kernan has a comment on Alan Kulwicki.
It's a comment that comes from Tony Glover and Ernie Irvan. You know, we listen on the scanners and pick up some of the conversations between the crew chiefs and the drivers. Just a minute ago, Ernie radioed in and said, "Tony, why is that 7 car running so fast?" Tony got back on the race and says, "Hey, I have no idea why he's running so fast, but I wish I did."
He is fast. Yeah. Kulwicki has finished in the top 15 only twice here at Pocono in 11 tries. Here's a battle for position as Darrell Waltrip heads down to the inside of Sterling Marlin. They go through the corners side by side, and Bill Elliott is looking on from behind.
Marlin been running in 5th position. Darrell Waltrip trying to take it away, and I believe he's got it. Well, maybe not. Sterling has other ideas. Yeah.
This is 5th and 6th position that's being contested. 5th, 6th, and 7th.
Now then, is Sterling going to dive in the corner in front of Darrell?
Yep.
He did.
Good competition. We are coming up on the halfway point in less than 8 laps now as Alan Kulwicki leads at the moment over Ernie Irvan. Back in a moment.
It is from Kodak. It delivers the highest resolution, microfine grain, superior image structure for ultra-sharp detail. It is called Ektar. Ektar film by Kodak. The genius is in the details. Ektar film now comes in a new cartonless package in 25, 100, and 1,000 speeds.
Nothing can stop Batman's return. Now at McDonald's, Batman Returns is on a dramatic series of 32-ounce collector cups straight from the summer's biggest movie. On top, there's a flying frisbee bat disc lid. Inside, a superheroic serving of a large soft drink. You can collect all 6 Batman Returns cups, each at a special price. Because what you want is what you get at McDonald's today. What do you want?
Where to find the Mountain Man. A mountain man can often be found on the trail of adventure, in search of remote watering holes, or weathering harsh climates. Most often, however, you'll find the mountain man wherever you find smooth bush beer or easy drinking bush light. So, head for the mountains and find yourself in the wide, open world of the mountain man.
This is where America gets together. Every weekend throughout America, there is great NASCAR racing.
I wouldn't be anywhere else.
We welcome you to live ESPN Speed World coverage of the Champion Spark Plug 500 NASCAR Winston Cup race from Pocono International Raceway in Northeast Pennsylvania. Our Speed World coverage is being brought to you by Suzuki. Your Suzuki dealer has the ride you've been waiting for and the financing to get it. Now we're less than 5 laps away from the halfway point. 95 laps are in the book, and Alan Kulwicki is the leader of the race with about a 1.5-second lead over Ernie Irvan. Well, this group of cars continue to battle with each other. That is Sterling Marlin, Darrell Waltrip, Bill Elliott, Ken Schrader.
5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. And Rusty Wallace right there in 9th position.
The car in front of them, Brett Bodine, is a lap down.
Brett is in 16th, a lap down. 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. And Dale Earnhardt is also coming up on this pack of cars, but again, he is several laps down because of a lengthy pit stop. Here's Ken Schrader moving to the inside of Bill Elliott going into turn 1.
Got a good run off of turn 3, pulled up beside of the Budweiser Ford and was able to move right around.
Wow, smooth pass. Yeah, he moves into 7th position. Ken Schrader does. He was our pole sitter for the day.
Sterling Marlin remains 5th, Darrell Waltrip 6th, Schrader 7th, and Bill Elliott 8th, Rusty Wallace is 9th, Jimmy Hensley is 10th, Dale Jarrett's 11th. 12th is car number 94 of Terry Labonte.
Our Western Auto race recap. Alan Kulwicki, 13 of the first 96 laps he had led. 1 caution for 4 laps. That was when Jimmy Horton spun down in the 3rd turn. 13 cars on the lead lap, 9 leaders, 7 lead changes, and a 147.8 mile an hour average. There are the lap leaders: Schrader, Martin, Bodine, Brett, Gant, Elliott, Kulwicki, and Irvin. Those that have dropped out of competition include Jimmy Means and Ricky Rudd, and on down the line. Now let's take a look at our standings in the Western Auto Mechanic of the Year contest. Tim Brewer from Bill Elliott's team is on top. Just 4-point lead here over Tony Glover. Larry McReynolds is 3rd, Kirk Shelmerdine 4th, and Steve Meal from Mark Martin's team is in 5th position in the Western Auto Mechanic of the Year standings.
Man, what a scramble we've had there for the last couple of laps. Those guys 3 abreast a moment ago, and Schrader took over that 5th spot. I guess that's 5th we're talking about, isn't it?
Yep.
Ernie Irvin, or rather Dale Earnhardt, has been behind the wall for many, many laps. He is out there, though, and just trying to stay out there as long as he can and finish as high as he can.
That's the first thing he's trying to do, is stay out there as long as he can and get as many points as he can, because he's learned how to get these points. Over the years, he gets points as well as anyone. But right now, this is also ego talking. He wants to show these guys, hey, I was a good race car today. I'm not a 30th place car. I'm a good race car. That's why he's trying to pass this guy.
He's having fun.
Exactly.
27 laps behind.
Ken Schrader leading this group of cars in 6th position, and Jerry Punch has a comment.
Guys, we were speculating a minute ago why Alan Kulwicki is running so well here. And you know, most of the cars who come here, the drivers like Kenny Schrader, others, they bring their Dover or possibly their Charlotte cars. We're getting ready for the halfway next time by for Alan Kulwicki. Lap 99, lap 100 coming up. But you know, Alan Kulwicki decides that this track is so tough and so demanding, he brings his Bristol, Tennessee car. The same car he ran at Bristol back early in the year. You know what happened up there? He set on a pole and dominated all afternoon at Larry O'Carrier's High Bank half-mile facility. They're coming across the tunnel turn, headed for the halfway point. Let's go up to John Kernan.
As we approach the halfway point, Kulwicki's crew looking on very, very interested. They like to pocket that $10,000 bonus. Now, talking with Paul Andrews, you notice how Allen had to run a few laps before he could get around. They've got the car set up where it's just a little bit tight with fresh tires and a full load of fuel. After he runs 10 to 12 laps, the car starts to take off, and Kulwicki pockets that $10,000 first prize. And guys, we should see Ernie Irvin in the pits the next time by. He's been radioing in, complaining that his car is still too tight.
100 laps have been completed, and our leader at the halfway lap is Alan Kulwicki. He takes home the $10,000 Gillette Halfway Challenge Award if you've entered the contest and are called at home and you can correctly identify him as the winner of the Gillette Halfway Challenge. You could win the Chevrolet Lumina Z34. Again, the name to repeat if you're called is Alan Kulwicki, leader at the halfway point here in the Champion Spark Plug 500.
John Kernan mentioned it, but it's pretty significant. Maybe we ought to mention it again. You know, not only does the viewer get a new Chevrolet Lumina, but he does get $10,000.
Not bad.
That's
and
not
this
bad.
last lap speed was over 155 miles an hour.
There's Dave Marcus that Kulwicki's going by, front straight away.
Dave's in 24th position, just 1 lap down.
Now about to be, he is 2 laps down now. That's Brett Bodine out in front of him. Brett made a pit stop about 5 laps ago. Came out in front of the leader. Here's that battle again. For that's 6th, 7th, Waltrip at 7th. Dale Elliott is 8th. Rusty Wallace is 9th. Ken Schrader is 5th. There he is out in front of the pack. Here's Earnhardt. He wants to pass somebody else. They'll let him. Darrell's not going to fight with him.
Yeah, he just told Darrell, look, I was a good race car today. I won't show up in the paper tomorrow, but I was. Now he's got his sights set on Sterling Marlin. Average speed going back up, Bob.
Yeah, still on record, 148.2, and the record is 142.5. And the Bill Elliott car and Darrell Waltrip waging battle out there, and there's Rusty Wallace there in the Miller Genuine Draft Pontiac number 2.
Ernie Irvin is in the pits.
Second place car, Ernie Irvin, on pit road, headed for his 3rd routine pit stop of the day. Here's John Kernan.
Well, they weren't ready for him on lap 101, so Ernie will come in on lap 102. It'll be a 4-tire change. He wants him to loosen up the cars because he's been fighting the push all day long since about the 8th lap. Ernie throws the drink can out of the window. They will go to the left side and make a few turns on the left side, make that chassis adjustment we were telling you about. 4 sticker tires going on as work continues on the number 4 car. Let's go down pit road to Kyle Petty's pit and Jerry Punch. Ernie's away.
As Ernie Irvin leaves pit road, Kyle Petty has already changed right side tires. The Mellow Yellow crew, Felix Savanastone, Pontiac Grand Prix. Changing now left side tires. Good run for Kyle Petty. Great pit stop down here for Robin Pivert and the crew, and Kyle speeds back toward turn 1.
About 22.5 seconds, Jerry. That was almost 4 seconds faster than Ernie Irvin's crew. They were a little bit slower than normal. Davey Allison now comes down pit road. He was running in the 3rd position, had moved up to 2nd when Ernie Irvin made his pit stop. Most of them will be coming in here very shortly. Greg Sachs coming in right now as well.
Here's Davey stopping down toward turn number 1, and the crew going to work on the right side of that car.
Right sides are off. Now the jackman checking. As soon as he gets a nut tight, he lets the car down and bounds around to the other side. See, in NASCAR racing, you can only use one jack. You can't use another jack on the left side. He has to take that jack all the way around. We see Big Eric back there trying to knock the spoiler down a little bit to loosen the car up.
Look at that pit stop, fellas. 20.4 seconds. That'll get you some spots on the racetrack.
Great stop. There's Derek Cope also on pit road for his routine maintenance. 16th position when he came in.
There we see a adjustment on the rear, and his car was a little bit too loose because they tightened that car up. And away he goes.
Ed Musgrave coming in right now. James Hilton.
There's Greg Sachs following Derek out of the pits.
And I expect we'll see a few more. Yep, Ken Schrader coming down pit road this time around.
Dale Schrader and Dale Jarrett right behind him. These stops again under green. 70-mile-an-hour speed limit, and Jerry Punch Ken is headed toward you.
Kenny Schrader bringing his Chevrolet Lumina to a halt. Now Kenny had complained that the cars was a little bit too tight, so chassis specialist Frank Edwards, as soon as he can go over the wall after they have fueled the car, he will take a couple of rounds of bite out of the back of the car. They have changed right side tires. Schrader's crew now working on the left side, and Dale Jarrett in the Interstate Battery Chevrolet. He had a tire problem. The car not handling very well. As Kenny Schrader is down and away, the crew now still working up pit road on Dale Jarrett's car. He is off the jacks. He burns the tires and a little smoke, but he is headed back to turn 1.
Well, Jarrett had a 21.1 pit stop, and Schrader was right in the same 20.8, so he was just a shade faster.
And the leader of the race continues to be Alan Kulwicki, but he will be coming in before too long. Here is Darrell Waltrip rolling toward his pit area.
And Sterling Marlin and Jeff Bodine.
John Kernan is there.
Darrell Waltrip pulling the Western Auto Chevrolet Lumina down pit road into his pit stall. It will be a 4-tire change, scheduled green flag stop. As you see an extra man over the window or over the wall there with a rag as he wipes along the window because of all that tar and stuff from the racetrack that gets up on the windshield, makes it very, very hard to see. They will make a chassis adjustment on the right side. They now have the left side up. Darrell gunning the engine. It is full. They wait for the lug nuts to be tightened. Darrell is down and away.
21.6 seconds for Darrell Waltrip. Here comes Sterling Marlin moving back out onto the racetrack.
We can see that Darrell was about a second quicker than Sterling in his pit stop. Jeff Bodine, a good pit stop by the Bud Moore crew, Motorcraft Ford.
Marlin moving the Maxwell House Coffee Ford back up to speed. There is Alan Kulwicki, who is still leading.
Now, Kyle Petty made a pit stop. He just passed Alan Kulwicki, got back in the lead lap. He had gone a lap down when he made his pit stop, but you can see how far away he's pulled with those new tires on. So Alan don't want to stay out there too long and let those fellas that made those pit stops run too many laps on those fresh tires, because they're gaining about a second a lap on it.
I would think he would make his pit stop this time. Yep, he's on the brakes and around turn number 3, headed toward John Kernan and Alan Kulwicki, the race leader, coming in.
Paul Andrews and the crew waiting for Kulwicki to come down pit road. As we told you, the speed down pit road, 70 miles an hour. They're pitting about 2 laps earlier because they see just the difference that those brand new tires make. They will go to work on the right side, left side lug nuts coming off. Once again, a lot of tar gathered on the front grille. Bill Elliott is also coming down. He had just moved into the second spot on the scoreboard. As they swing around to the left side of the car, Kulwicki's crew going to work. It looks like a pretty good pit stop going on as they got all 4 tires on, 2 cans of fuel down to Jerry Punch.
And although Mark Martin had lost a lap because of a problem with an air wrench, he led 51 of the first 100 laps. He is now still 1 lap down. They have made their pit stop, and he puts it back in gear and peels away as Bill Elliott's Budweiser crew getting left side tires up there. Tim Brewer and the rest of the Budweiser crew putting left side tires. Junior Johnson on the machine. Bill Elliott now off the jack and making his way back to turn 1. He was running second, but now having completed his pit stop will fall back in the rotation. Gentlemen?
Well, let's try to determine who's leading this thing, Ned.
Well, I think Rusty Wallace has not made a pit stop, so he should be the leader right now. At least I didn't see Rusty come in.
Here he is right now, yep.
Yep, he's coming into the pits. He stayed out there and got him 5 bonus points. And Jimmy Hensley's going to take over the lead. Hensley has not made a pit stop. He goes down across the start-finish line first this time.
Rusty slow, bringing that car down 70 miles an hour. He's coming down to you, Jerry Punch.
And the same car Rusty used to win at this track a year ago, back this time with the Miller Genuine Draft colors on it. Eddie Dickinson and the crew now changing right side tires. Expected to be a routine stop. Left side lug nuts coming off. They scamper around. Now jacking the left side of the car up. Right side tires being laid down. Bill Wilburn and the rest of the crew now having put the left front and left rear tire on, getting the car full of fuel. Rusty Wallace now off the jack, down and away, having pitted on lap 108.
22 and 9/10 seconds for that pit stop. Jimmy Hensley is the leader. When it all shakes out, Davey Allison is going to be in the lead with Ernie Irvin right on his bumper.
Rusty Wallace building back up speed as a record crowd looks on in the Champion Spark Plug 500 from Pocono. We'll be right back.
When Darrell Waltrip needs a part, he needs the right part, and he needs it fast.
And when you need parts, see the parts team at Western Auto. We've got top name brands and thousands of parts in stock. Right, guys?
Right, DW.
And we've got the right price, backed by our low price guarantee, right?
Right, DW. And while you're at Western Auto, pick up AC spark plugs for just 99 cents each. AC spark plugs is like buying time.
That's why I take our trucks to Western Auto, right, Jeff?
Wrong, Darrell.
Jeff takes your trucks to Western Auto.
Dear Wendy, summer vacation, week 2. I'm having a great time taking a lot of photos. I went to Dolphin World with some new friends. Afterwards, everyone was hungry. Luckily, there was a Wendy's nearby. We had junior bacon cheeseburgers, Biggie fries, Frosties, and Biggie drinks. I treated. Because everything on the super value menu is just 99 cents each. And Miss Smarty, I finally broke 100. Love, Dad.
Hey, mister, that's my ball.
Oh, sorry.
Wendy's Super Value Menu, the best place to spend your summer.
What makes a mountain man a mountain man? Let's find out. Must a mountain man be a big burly guy with an axe? A man of steel? Must a mountain man even be a man? Actually, the only requirement is the right beer. Smooth bush beer or easy drinking bush light. So, head for the mountains and learn what makes the typical mountain man anything but.
People don't stay at La Quinta Inns just because they happen to see one everywhere they go. Although, it is a convenient excuse. Call 1-800-531-5900. La Quinta Inns, America's hotel value. This is La Quinta Inn's new money-saving super value rates coupon. If you can't find one, just tell them you saw it on TV. Call La Quinta and ask for the new super value rates from $34.50.
We invite you to spend the early part of your July 4th Saturday with us. At 10:30 in the morning, we'll have a live Richard Petty special from Daytona International Speedway, and follow that with the Pepsi 400. Live coverage as we reach the halfway point of the 92 season. Live coverage 10:30, the Richard Petty special on Saturday, July the 4th. Well, after all of the pit stops, it is Ernie Irvan leading Davey Allison and Alan Kulwicki.
Yeah, Davey came out ahead of the car number 4 of Ernie Irvan, but Irvan passed him about 4 or 5 laps ago, and everybody has made pit stops. Well, Harry Gant is the last one to make a pit stop, but he was already a lap down, so he had not taken the lead. Jimmy Hensley pitted a couple laps ago and took on 2 tires.
And Davey Allison did not lead a lap. He was in front of the 4 car, but when he was in front of the 4 car, Hensley was the leader. 4 car passed the 28, and then Hensley pitted. So Davey still hasn't led a lap today and received those 5 bonus points.
Now, Alan Kulwicki stayed out there a little while, and we mentioned how much faster they run on fresh tires. And so he lost a little bit to those guys, made a good pit stop, but he has run them back down now.
Kulwicki looking to the inside of Allison going into turn 1.
The leader, Ernie Irvan, 4 car, the 28 car, Allison second. Now Alan Kulwicki just to the right of your screen, the number 7, the orange and white car.
I tell you, fellas, Ernie Irvan did a good job of getting in and out of the pits, because he was in the pits a heck about 6 seconds longer than Davey Allison, but of course he had a lead on Davey before they went into the pits.
There is Jimmy Hensley in the number 66 car, a lap down, running in 12th position. John?
Well, Ned mentioned it on this last pit stop that Bob Johnson chose to go in with 2 tires. That was right side tires only. They had checked their tire wear, and they think they'll be okay. They figured they had to do something to catch up with these guys like Ernie Irvan and Alan Kulwicki and Davey Allison, who are running away at the front without any cautions to bunch the field back up. They got to do something to get their car in a position to win or to place it in the top 5. So they decided to go with only 2 tires. We'll have to wait and see what kind of an effect that has if Jimmy has to come in and pit before he runs out of fuel this next time. If he has to pit for tires, I mean.
I think it'll cost him some speed on the racetrack, John.
We've had a change in second position as Alan Kulwicki has moved around Davey Allison. So now it's Irvan, Kulwicki, and Allison.
Kulwicki just has the fastest race car on the track, fellas. That car is very, very good. Hooters Thunderbird going good.
It sure appears that way, and he is the only. We keep talking about shifting, but of the 3 cars you're seeing on the screen right now, he's the only car that's shifting. Right now, he should be drawing the car down in 4th gear or overdrive. He should be putting the car in overdrive. Now he's going down towards turn 1. He will hit the brakes, and now he should be downshifting into direct drive or 4th gear in a normal transmission. That would be in the 3rd gear spot, but it was still, the ratio would be a normal 4th gear, normal transmission 4th gear. It's 1-to-1 in the 3rd position.
Look for your favorite driver as we give you another Napa field summary.
Dale Jarrett picked up 4 spots on that round of pit stops, and you can see now there are only 11 cars in the lead lap. Hut Strickland was up there. We had 13 cars on the lead lap. Hut, when he came in for his pit stop to raise the hood on the Ray Bestis Chevrolet, so he lost some extra time. So you're going to see him. There he is in 25th position now. He's 2 laps down.
Here comes Kulwicki on the inside.
Challenge for the lead right at the start-finish line. Down into turn number 1. Kulwicki on the inside and Irvan on the outside. And Allen has got the lead.
And he has the lead, and he has about, 4 or 5 laps fresher tires than these other 2 cars. So Kulwicki should be able to stretch it out from here.
Kulwicki has led in 8 of the 13 races that we have had. 12, and of course he is leading today, and he has led the most laps in 3 of those events. Kulwicki was the winner of the race at Bristol earlier this year.
You can see he's beginning to pull away just a little bit from Ernie Irvan. Davey Allison still in the picture.
Here we come off the flat turn 3. There's Mark Martin still. Baldwin Ford is a good race car, but a lap down.
He's picking up on this fellas a little bit right now, fellas.
He is, yes.
Don't know if he can pick up on Kulwicki once he's got the lead, as we saw a little bit earlier, Denny, but He has gained some since that pit stop.
Man, oh man.
There's a big separation between the third place car and back here at this group. There's Ken Schrader just going through, and now here comes Darrell Waltrip in 5th.
Darrell's 5th. Here comes Dale Jarrett trying to pass Kyle Petty, trying to take over the 6th position. Bill Elliott's right in there. So is Sterling Marlin.
Wow, look at this. This is Greg Sachs on the inside. Passes both these fellas.
Yeah.
He's 15th, a lap down, but Sachs's car is running well.
Yes, it is. Kyle Petty lost 3 positions right there. He went from 6th back to 9th.
Kellogg's cornflakes car running awfully well. But again, a lap down to these cars.
I can remember Greg having some really good finishes here. Good runs, I should say.
Well, now he's one of those drivers that got caught up in that situation. He had made a pit stop, a green flag pit stop, and then the caution came out, and that cost him the lap.
Well, let's give you another indication of just how Alan Kulwicki was able to close the interval and pass Ernie Irvan for the lead. There is Irvan running in 2nd. Our Big A Auto Parts on-track interval. We timed laps 110 through 114. And look how Ernie Irvan knocked off from, or rather Kulwicki knocked off from a 1.5 seconds.
Down to 1/10 of a second.
Before he finally went around.
1.4 seconds in 5 laps. And went around him and away he went.
Pretty impressive.
It is impressive.
Sorry.
And a recheck of NASCAR scoring has put Jimmy Hensley back on the lead lap. He is now in